Broadcasting to you from the heart of northern Minnesota, this is the Roger Radio Show. I am Roger Radio.
And I'm Aegis and Levity of the entire band group.
I don't have any beer, and I'm still nursing a hangover right now, so...
They got me a voodoo right here.
Nice. Cheers, man, even though this ain't a beer, it's doable. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started into today's subject, the question of the podcast is, out of all the pioneering bands and musicians, who do you believe made the biggest impact for music genres? You know, when it comes to like a pioneering band or musician in their respective genres.
For me, that'd be either King Crimson or Porcupine Tree. Porcupine Tree, most people haven't heard of, but it was still very influential sound.
I was gonna say, but they were they around in the 60s or 70s, or when did they start?
Let me check when it started. 1987, but it was still very influential.
Yeah. Now, King Crimson, though, you obviously have a good idea why, right?
Yeah. Because they went through like so many members, and even aside from the music they made themselves, the way they trained other people and musicians who were with them briefly, they learned from that and brought it on to the different bands.
Yeah, and for those who probably don't know, could you tell us what genre these two bands are you just mentioned?
Progressive rock.
All right. My answer, and this is obviously a personal one for me, and obviously there was a giant elephant in the room because he just passed away. Ozzy Osbourne. He was the guy who, him along with the band of Black Sabbath, they were the ones that really laid the groundwork for the heavy metal sound. Otherwise, you would not know bands such as like the likes of Deep Purple, or actually, no, Deep Purple came right before them, but Black Sabbath brought the more denser, heavier sound, and they laid the groundwork for bands such as, you know, Judas Priest and Five Finger Death Punch, and even like some many other bands that were paying tributes. Like, there have been tributes all over, you know, and obviously, I guarantee you, Ozzy right now is up in heaven, and he looked to him and he said, wait a minute, this isn't where I was supposed to be, is it? Well, there's been so many memes that I found of him where it's like, wait.
Yeah.
Hell looks a little, yeah, and this, it's obviously a very sad time, you know, so. But, all right, ladies and gentlemen, now, obviously, we are going to, for today's podcast, I figured, like, the what one to do right now, then talk about what is, like, your most favorite music albums that you will listen to. Now, these are going to be albums that you will listen to from, like, entirely from beginning to end, if there's like one skip that's like acceptable and whatnot. But I figured like this was a topic that I've been wanting to do for a while, but we just didn't have the time to do it because of all the album reviews that we've done. So I figured this is a great opportunity to do so right here. Now, each of us have 30 overall albums that we are going to cover, and we are going to take turns going from what our albums are for like each and whatnot, and why we like them so much, and at least maybe try and get into a bit of the story of said albums, if applicable. And are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously, because this is my show right here, I'm gonna go first, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously, for me, out of all the albums that I could have chosen to start with, because we are gonna do this in alphabetical order for like bands and musicians and whatnot, we have an itinerary here, and we're gonna go through it all. So I figured what album to start with right here, then Airbourne's 2013 album, Black Dog Barking. Now, 2013, in my honest opinion, was probably the worst fucking god awful year for music because I hated a lot of the music that came out. It was atrocious. Like 2013 music, I think, is considered a crime against humanity, in my opinion. But for every giant pile of shit, there's that one little golden nugget that's in there. And this album was the perfect nugget in that shit pile, in my opinion. Now, for those of you who don't know, Airbourne is an Australian hard rock band who was influenced by the likes of AC/DC. I found out who this band was mainly because of the Madden NFL games because they had a lot of their music that was played on it, right? And I've really fell in love with them. And then I've listened to this album, and oh my god, track one, Ready to Rock, is probably, in my opinion, one of the best introductory songs for any album, in my opinion. There's many other songs that are on here that I really love. There was also No One Fits Me Better Than You. It's basically a song about having one of those sexual experiences, where it's like, how people have rough sex if you're into that, right? Right? And it's kind of like that. Then there was Back in the Game, which was the most appropriate song for me to play for when I returned to my radio career after a 2-month hiatus. So it was such a great I'm back song for me. Then there's Firepower's another good one I really liked. Hungry's another good one. And then, if I remember correctly, I think Cradle to the Grave I also have on my playlist, but I can't remember because I haven't listened to that one in a while, so... Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking at this, and it actually did get great ratings. A lot of these these things like AllMusic, The Guardian, Revolver, they gave this album a solid 3.5 to 4 stars. And
it did it dirty.
in my opinion, this I think is their greatest work here, their magnum opus, in my opinion.
Okay.
Alrighty, you're next.
My first one is 801 Live by the progressive slash experimental slash art rock supergroup 801.
Could you
Uh,
explain who's in that group quick?
yeah, the personnel on this album in particular, it had Phil Manzanera on guitar, Lloyd Watson, Francis Monkman, Brian Eno, Bill McCormick, and Simon Phillips.
That's a good lineup right there.
Yeah, and it's a good album. It's got two covers on it. It has a cover of the Beatles' "Tomorrow Never Knows" and a cover of the Kinks' "You Really Got Me."
Oh, no, dude, they actually did a cover of that song. I know the only cover song that they did of the Kinks was done by Van Halen, so I didn't know
Hmm.
that another band did that. So
Yeah, honestly, my favorite songs there. I really liked "East of Asteroid," which was an instrumental track, and I also really liked "Miss Shapiro" and "Third Uncle."
that's nice, man. That's really nice.
Yeah, they also did a cover of Brian Eno's song "Babies on Fire," which is pretty good.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up. Just gotta quickly find my other thing right here, quick, if I may. Okay, so for some reason here, this next album. Oh, did you have anything else you wanted to say, quick?
No, that's it.
Okay. Now, for this one right here, I'm using Wikipedia page so I can bring you all the info needed. For my next choice that I made here, they don't have a Wikipedia link to this album, so I'm here on YouTube Music. I just hope to God the music's muted because fucking copyright, dude. Dude, fuck copyright, fuck the FCC, and fuck all you jellyfish out there,
You know what?
Okay,
Fuck
so,
everyone else too.
right. Okay, so for my next choice right here, I chosen Jarren Benton's 2016 album, Slow Motion Volume 2. Now, Jarren Benton is like another one of those musicians musicians that a lot of people don't know about. Excuse me. And he's like one of those kind of unknown hip hop artists in my opinion, but he's got some great stuff. This here, I believe, is his greatest work right here. A lot of good jams are on here, dude. There is like WTFUTB. I want you to try and figure out what that stands for.
What was it again?
WTFUTB.
I can get what the fuck, but
What the fuck you talking about?
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really great song. But out of all these here, the next one that I really loved is What a Difference that he did with Cy Ari Da Kid, Graph, and Dizzy Wright. And this one here is actually among my top five favorite hip hop songs and considered one of my all time favorite overall songs. I just loved how it sounded, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then every time when I'm visiting my friend Brent in Hill City, and he's a huge Jarren Ben guy, he could tell you about him too. He could tell you that every time we're visiting, I'm always playing this song because it's just our jam, dude. It's such a great tune, you know. The next one we have
Yeah.
is No Fucks to Give that he did with Futuristic and Chris Webby. It's another good one. Probably the chorus there, it's done so perfectly in sync, and it sounds like, you know, when you're in slow motion, like, and all that. It didn't sound like how I sounded right now, dude. It really,
Yeah.
mine was god awful. All right, so the next one here is Scared that he did with On Cue and Big Group. And if you're wondering, a lot of these hip hop albums, you know there's going to be a lot of people collabing on albums, obviously. And then the next song right here that I really like is probably his best song overall on this album, and it's called Dark Roads that he did with Serena Dominguez. It's another good one right there. And I believe that's all of it for the album's songs that I like from this album. But overall, in my opinion, it's a great album.
Okay. On to me.
Yep.
All right, my next one, it's called The Madness of Many. It's by a progressive metal band called Animals as Leaders. They do all instrumental music. It's really good. And this is like the one progressive group that isn't just a bunch of white guys. There is a black man in it. He plays lead guitar and he's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing is like, dude, normally, like for progressive rock music, it just feels like there's not a whole lot of blacks in that group, honestly, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I have not found a single female progressive rock musician out there at all.
Hey, dude, think of it this way, dude. As soon as you get your group going, and with that one bassist that we were talking to that one day,
Yeah,
dude, she could make history.
yeah, could,
I mean,
could
dude, you
very
never
well.
know. You never say never, dude. And
Yeah,
that's the one thing, man. Like, man, heck, dude, I've even seen females, musicians that are in like heavy metal and hard rock sounds, dude. But prog rock,
but
dude?
never in progressive, never in progressive.
Why do you suppose that is, dude? I mean,
I don't know. Women just choose not to make progressive rock music. I think that's just it.
huh. But yeah, you have anything else you want to say about it for the Madness of Many? How does it sound to you in retrospect for
I'm
like the overall sound?
so the genre is listed as progressive metal, jazz metal, gent, and instrumental rock. Gent is pretty fucking cool.
Hmm.
Or is it degent? I can't. I'm not fucking sure. It's got some really good songs. They have really cool titles for their music. Whenever I make an instrumental song, I give it some goofy ass fucking title, you know? But their fucking song names Arithmophobia, Ectogenesis, Cognitive Contortions, Inner Assassins, Private Visions of the World, Backpfeifengesicht, which is a German term that means a face deserving of a fist. Uh, Look it up, it's a legit thing.
I'll have to.
Transcendence, The Glass Bridge, The Brain Gents, and Apeirophobia. Cool fucking titles.
Yeah. No, I can
But
just
no,
imagine you.
it's
I can just imagine you taking inspiration and name one of your songs a fist up your ass.
yeah, it's literally just a trio of musicians. There's I don't know how the fuck to pronounce his name. The lead guitarist, Tosin Abazi. I'm probably fucking that name up, but that's how it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Javier Reyes, and Matt Garstka on drums. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. On to you.
All right. Number three, and obviously I keep talking to you about this album all the time and blah 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 and shit like that. This is an album that I do intend to do an album review on someday. I don't know when. We have so many other albums that I want to cover, first and all that. But for my next entry, I am gonna choose Blue Oyster Cult's 1988 album, Imaginos. Now, this is an album that Albert Bouchard, who was one of the co-founders of Blue Oyster Cult, intended to make into a rock opera consisting of 3 double LPs.
Okay. I
And
think you've told me about this before.
yeah, it was basically done. It was based on scripts and poems that were written by Sandy Pearlman, who was a contributor of sorts. And let me put it to this way: Sandy Pearlman is like that one unknown member of the group. Even though he wasn't an official member overall, he was kind of like that one member kind of thing. It's like the same with Nigel Godrich, who produced many of Radiohead's albums. He's known as like that sixth man. And this is supposed to be a concept album on rock opera about an alien conspiracy that is brought to fruition during the late 19th and early 20th centuries through the actions of Imaginos, an agent of evil. The tale combines elements of Gothic literature and science fiction and is strongly inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft.
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, yeah. So,
Yep, I've got all of his works on my bookshelf.
hell yeah, man. And
Very
then
influential in the horror genre.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, dude, when you can take something like him, for example, to give inspiration, dude, there's so many. That's what I meant about the pioneering stuff in our question of the podcast. You never know. Like, there's so many people in like certain areas who just really laid the groundwork for this
Yeah.
and that.
Only thing about H.P. Lovecraft, though, he was very racist. You want to know the name of his cat?
What?
N-word man. Legit. Look it up. That's what he
Oh,
named his cat.
Oh God, I didn't even get to what one of my albums that I'm gonna list later on. It's number 15, and already, God, you're already starting to break that ice right here. Yeah, folks, there will be a disclaimer, by the way. But anyways, it's like I said, it's supposed to be a rock opera in a trilogy of double albums, and it's a storyline that encompassed about 200 years of history from the beginning of the 19th century to the end of the 20th century. Now, the album that Albert Bouchard, they were starting to work on this album in 1981, obviously. And there was so much internal strife that was going on, and Bouchard ended up getting fired by the band while they were still working on it. Yeah, him and Sandy Pearlman ended up suing the band so they could keep their rights as the producers of the album, which they did settle out of court. He wanted to really get this whole entire concept out, but Columbia, who I believe produced it, let me look quick. Yeah, Columbia was not impressed with it, and so instead they ended up releasing a short abbreviated version that we all know today. But, dude, could you imagine what that album would have been like if they would have just released the whole thing?
Yeah, it would be something kind of like what the Deer Hunter's doing.
Yeah, dude, that, in my opinion, dude, if they would have if the band would have just stuck to their stood their ground with them and say, no, we're going to release it. The whole Imaginos thing could have probably been their magnum opus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Albert Bouchard would eventually release his solo albums like in the 2020s of like what would be the whole story overall, but it just didn't have that Blue Oyster Cult touch to it. I wasn't overall impressed with it. All right,
Okay.
so now all the track listing for Imaginos, all these songs are not in the correct order. They basically yeah, and I had to literally do a lot of research and to figure out what's what on here. And as soon as we do the Imaginos review, we are going to do the songs in the correct chronological order for the sake of doing the storytelling and whatnot. But obviously, they had basically for this right here, they ended up everything was so disorganized with the like how the personnel thing went. So it was basically the equivalent of the Rolling Stones recording their Satanic Majesty's request. They had a revolving door of musicians going in and going out, helping with it. Now, the first one is I Am the One You Warned Me of. I loved the chorus for this, you know. I am the one
Hmm.
you warned me of. I am the one you never, never like. Or I think that's how it sounds. But I was like, you know what? It kind of fits me, dude. I have to come with a warning label every fucking time. Ask every person who has come into contact with me in my 31 years on this planet. Ask anyone. Next one, Lay Invisibles. As you hear Buck Dharma, which is his stage name for Donald Roser, you will hear his singing and whatnot, but then you'll hear like somebody chanting 777 because Lay Invisible is supposed to be the invisible ones, which is seven beings. And this next one here is probably my most favorite song, In the Presence of Another World. No, I think I don't know what it is. Like this whole album's a hard rock album, is what the genres are actually. But this is probably the beginning of it is probably the softest opening that I've heard for any hard rock or any of the overall hard rock sounds. I mean, dude, we talked about this when we reviewed Parasomnia, and there was the song "Bend the Clock." You know, soft opening and then dun, 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 and all that. So the next song is obvious. Like all of the tracks I really liked. So Del Rio's song was one that I do listen to a lot of, but I don't really care about. The next one, and this is probably one of the longest title tracks because we might do an episode about long ass title tracks. The Siege and Investiture of Baron von Frankenstein's Castle at Weiseria.
That's a fucking mouthful.
Yeah, right. This is the only this is the only oh actually, you know, I take it back. For the lead vocals, they had like five people that did it. Three of them were official members. One was a contributor. And then this one here was sung by Joey Carasano, who is a songwriter, a record producer, and all of that. And he came in as like a contributor. This next song, Astronomy, which is what got me into this album overall. This is actually their third. Let me look. Yeah, this is their third version of this song. They had an earlier one that was done in one of their earlier albums, and then they did an extended version on their live album, Some Enchanted Evening. Next one, Magna of Illusion, which was supposed to be the closing track for this album. Like I said, I like this is another song that I didn't care much about, honestly, just like with Del Rio's song, but I listened to Magna of Illusion a little more than Del Rio's song. And then the next song here. Have you ever heard of a band or musician that did a song that was that's their fucking name?
Ah, shit. I know I have, but I can't think of which band it was.
Yeah, the next one is Blue Oyster Cult, obviously is what it's called. It's like it reminds me of, you know, with Black Sabbath when they did it was their self-titled album, and the first song overall was called Black Sabbath, and it was just the pusher for the heavy metal sound, but that's a whole different story there. And then the next one, obviously the title track, Imaginos. Also, it had a little bit of, if you listen to around the ending of the song, it has like a little bit of jazzy sound to it because there's like a saxophone you hear on there. And I never, for the life of me, ever heard a saxophone being played in any hard rock sound.
I have.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, in a lot of the music I make, I use a lot of saxophone in my rock music.
For me, dude, that's different because it's progressive rock. You know, you're gonna hear
Yeah.
saxophones in prog rock, obviously, and you being the prog rock guy here, dude, you know, you're the expert on that. So I really can't say for sure, but you're teaching me. You're teaching me some things, man.
Yeah, like particularly Ladies on the Road by King Crimson. That was a really good prog
Yeah,
rock song with saxophone.
there was a yeah, and then when we did Dark Side of the Moon, they had a saxophone on Money and Us and Them. You know, so, I mean, it's pretty good. Has a I'm trying to think. Has a Yes or Emerson Lake and Palmer did that ever?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Yeah, I guess I don't know honestly. All right, so I'll close this out quick by saying, you know what? It's a really good album, and in my opinion, this is like one of the most underappreciated and un like underappreciated and most unknown albums out there, and I encourage you all to check this out. I am gonna try my best to include a link to all of the albums so you can check them out, but I don't know how much room I'll have for like in the description because there's gonna be so much fucking information that'll be on there. So, but what could I say? Great album. The album cover says it all for the overall sound and just the concept of it. And that's it for me.
All
You're
right,
next.
my next one is Desire of the Rhino King. Is technically a compilation album released in 1991 by Adrian Belew,
Hmm?
who has collaborated with a lot of musicians. He's collaborated with King Crimson, Frank Zappa, David Bowie, Talking Heads, and yeah, it's got a lot of good songs on it.
Yeah.
It's experimental rock, by the way.
Yeah. And we all know that that experimental stuff is pretty good, you know.
Oh yeah. My favorite song on the album is called The Ideal Woman.
Yeah.
But no, the sources for this compilation album, all of the songs are from his first three solo albums for Island Records, which are Lone Rhino, Twang Bar King, and Desire Caught by the Tail.
Okay.
So really good album. It's what really got me into Adrian Belew. He's a great guitarist. One of the things that he does that makes him unique is a lot of times he'll make like animal sounds with his electric guitar, which is pretty cool. And he
Nice.
also experiments with other like weird sounds he can make with his guitar, which I like a lot.
Yeah. I think that's almost like that almost reminds me of on Pink Floyd's album Amagama. They have this one song I can't remember. It's like a really, really long ass name too. It's like several species getting together to make a pick or whatever, and it was just pretty much Roger Waters making a fuck ton of animal sounds. And they were
Mm.
still trying to figure out their identity at that time because of the departure of Sid Barrett. So,
All right, that's all I got to say. On to you.
all right, next one here, and my next one is Blues Travelers' 1994 album 4, and this is my fourth entry. So now I'm looking at it, it's just funny as hell. What is there to say about this album? I love the album cover. It has a Black Panther who I think was in one of those ads or whatever that smokes a cigarette or some shit like that. I can't
Mm.
remember which cigarette brand, but this is probably Blues Traveler's greatest work right here. And of course, track number 1 has the first song I've ever listened to in my whole life because it came out just shortly after I was born, and it was Runaround, which is their great, probably one of the best opening tracks of all time for an album. Great overall sound. I mean, I don't know. What is there to say about this? Like, there's so many great songs on here, man. But I'll try and give you a short, abbreviated version here. The other good track is "The Mountains Win Again." That was written by Bobby Sheehan, who was a former member of theirs, who passed away sadly from an overdose. You know, and his death was what inspired John Popper to really reevaluate his life because John Popper, he was dealing with a severe eating disorder, and that woke him up to be like, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna eat myself to death. So yeah, he ended up losing weight, cut it down on how much calories he was taking in, and that was such a wake up call. The next song I really loved was Hook, another spectacular piece. Just, oh, such a great piece right there. This album got really good ratings from 4 stars overall, and this was an album that helped them win the 1995 Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group, and the song for it, Run Around, baby. Run Around. Aside from that, not much else to say, dude. If I keep doing this, dude, I'm gonna keep going on and on and on about the
Hmm.
album. So I'm gonna stop myself there. All right, on to you, man.
Hmm. Next one was David Bowie's Blackstar. He asked me it is the best album he ever made. It was released January 8th, 2016, and then he died 2 days later.
Jeez, talk about a closer, man. And that was his swan song right there, too.
Yep, yep, and it he used a lot of local jazz musicians for it, particularly Donnie McCaslin, my favorite saxophonist alive, and
Ooh.
his band.
Yeah,
So there's Don McCaslin, Jason Linder, Tim Lefebvre, I think it's pronounced, and Mark Juliana. Mark Juliana, I think it's pronounced Juliana. He's an incredible drummer.
yeah,
I like every single song on this album. There's not a single bad song. It's Black Star, which is my favorite of them all. Tis a pity she was a whore. Lazarus, Sue, or in a season of crime. Girl loves me. Dollar Days, and I can't give everything away. One second, because two of these are based on a. Let's see. I think two of the songs, Sue and Tis a Pity She Was a Whore, were based on plays written by fuck. It's either John Ford or Henry Ford. I can't remember.
okay, I got you, man. Now, I was gonna say, could you tell us a little bit about the music videos on there, man?
Yeah, yeah, John Ford, that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah. There are two music videos in this album. One is for Black Star, which, if you ask me, is the best music video ever made. And then there's also one for Lazarus. And yeah, the song Black Star was kind of based of his like religious and spiritual views upon his
Yeah,
death, or at the end of his life anyway. And then Lazarus seems to be more about his life and death. It's like he about his search for fame, how he became known by everyone, and then that he died.
yeah, yeah. That's the one thing. It's like I know that I was watching a video by Watch Mojo, and they said that Lazarus by David Bowie is considered one of the saddest music videos ever because the whole time, like, he had, like, in both the music videos, dude, that he had himself blindfolded, but there was like little buds
Yeah,
that are
button
showing
eyes.
where
They
his
call it
eyes,
button eyes.
yeah, button eyes, and yeah, dude, just, and
Honestly, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, and just to think that this came out, or I can't remember when the music video came out, but jeez, man, like you could tell, dude, he was in so much pain, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a line in Lazarus, I think. It goes, "I'm so high it makes my brain whirl." Because probably because he was on so many like drugs for the pain he was in.
Yeah, yeah, just fucking A, man.
Yeah. His saddest music video ever made, it was for a song called No Plan, which was released on an EP a year after his death. It's a very simple music video, but my God, it almost makes you cry.
Yeah. Ugh.
Anyway, that's all I got to say about Black Star. On to you.
All right. Now, next up is Eminem's 2000 album, the Marshall Mathers LP. Now, he was already a solidified hip hop artist at that point. Like, he ended up releasing the Slim Shady LP a year earlier, and this was already his second album, and it is probably considered one of the greatest hip hop albums ever because Eminem, just like with N.W.A, he really pushed the boundaries for, you know, saying, we don't give a fuck if you guys get offended by this,
Hmm.
is how he pronounced it. It is considered one of the all time greatest albums overall. And this album here got 4 to 5 star ratings and 9 out of 10 ratings. Like, it was so amazing, dude. Like, he, let me, let me see if I can find it quick. Alrighty, let me see here. It's a listed somewhere in the 150 era, or yeah, it's listed at 145 on Rolling Stone's greatest albums of all time overall because of just how much he pushed the boundaries. And mind you, this was not Eminem or Marshall Mathers, the man himself. It was his alter ego, Slim Shady. There are so many great tunes. Obviously, this album started out with a nearly 30-second track that just says public service announcement 2000, and he always had a tendency to put like public service announcement stuff in the beginning of his albums. And then he starts with a song called Kill You, and like many of these songs were just making him references to wanting to kill his girlfriend and his mom.
Damn.
Like
That's some
it,
shit.
yeah, like I would recommend you take a look. Number three, obviously, probably his greatest song overall, and it's actually listed at number 5 on my all-time favorite songs, and it's called Stan, and it included musician Dido. It was just him sampling one of her song "Thank You," I believe, if I remember correctly. The music video for Stan, dude, it was dark. It's basically about a crazed, obsessed fan named Stan himself, and we all know how crazed fans can get. And this guy, Stan, was starting to get really pissed because Eminem was not writing back to him and whatnot, and he starts getting more and more violent. And finally, Stan just went off the rails, grabbed his girlfriend, threw her in the trunk of his car, and drove off a bridge edge and drowned it to death.
Fuck.
Yeah. And Eminem, there's like a part in the ending where he says, why are you so mad, man? Try to understand that I do want you as a fan. I just don't want you to do any crazy shit. I saw on the news a while back that this guy drove off a bridge with his girlfriend and she was pregnant with his kid. And they found a tape and they didn't say who it was to. Come to think about it, it was you. Damn.
God damn, that's fucking awesome.
Right? All right, so there's like a fuck ton of songs on here, so I'll just try and get it as fast as I can here. The Way I Am, a really good tune. I really love the beat that they used for this. Obviously, there's the real Slim Shady, 80 like will the it was a meme of like it was like a forever meme that's like everyone bleaching their hair and whatnot, wearing like white shirts and whatnot. All right, will the real Slim Shady please stand up and all that. And then here's his next one called Marshall Mathers. Mathers, that's a song I don't listen to a whole lot of, but I do like it. Here's another one that he did with his hip hop supergroup D12 called Under the Influence. That's another good one. And then it ends with Criminal, which is probably one of the most underrated songs that Eminem ever released. All in all, dude, this album, it's a trip. It's a trip. On to you.
Right, my next one is so originally we had like what 25 songs or something. So I was trying to only do one song.
Songs.
Well, sorry. I was trying to only do one album from like per artist. Then we upgraded it to 30 albums. So I had to do some
Yeah, and then
repeats
I
on
pretty much said that you could choose like 2 to 3 albums from each from one band if you like.
yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, so I have another David Bowie album. Probably his most criminally underrated album. It's called The Next Day. It was released in 2013. It was his penultimate album. This was the first album he did where he didn't tour or anything for it.
Yeah, and this
And
was
I
the
have a
first album, and this was his first album in 10 years.
yes, but since his 2003 album Reality, because he was on tour for Reality and he had a heart attack on stage.
Yeah,
But yeah, the next day, it has some of the best lyrics I've ever heard by any musician ever. Such good
Yeah.
lyrics. And yeah, the music was really good too. I have a box set for of CDs that comes with an EP called The Next Day Extra, which has some more songs from the Next Day recordings. And not gonna lie, all the songs on the EP are really good too.
Yeah, and those are just pretty much songs that he ended up just cutting from the album overall, but wanted to release anyway, right?
Yeah, so on the album, there's The Next Day, which is the title track. Dirty Boys, The Stars Are Out Tonight. Love Is Lost, Where Are We Now, which is probably the most popular song of them all. Valentine's Day, which is about a mass shooting.
Oh
If
yeah.
You Can See Me, I'd Rather Be High, Boss of Me. Dancing Out in Space, How Does the Grass Grow, which is a really cool song. It uses
Yeah.
like this military chant in it, like, where do the boys lie? Mud, mud, mud. How does the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood.
Yeah.
Then You Feel So Lonely You Could Die in Heat. And then on the Next Day Extra, there was Atomica, Plan, which was an instrumental one. The Informer, Like a Rocket Man, Born in a UFO, God Bless the Girl, and So She. Oh, and I accidentally skipped. There's also one called I'll Take You There.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah,
It's one of my
man.
favorite albums of all time, and next to no one knows about it.
Yeah, that's the one thing is like, how the hell does anyone not know about it? I've never even heard about this album, honestly. Like, I assumed that David Bowie, just retired from music altogether because I know he was pursuing other stuff too.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, you got anything else you want to say?
No, that's all I got to say about that album.
All
On
right.
you.
The next one here is considered the breakup album to end all breakup albums. And I'm, of course, talking about Fleetwood Mac's 1977 album, Rumours. And you know what? Right here, man, the album. And then here's the backside. And let me tell you something. You could tell that they were all smiling and whatnot, but you know what? Behind the scenes, there was no smiling at all. Well, remember, dude, this was probably the most tumultuous time for the band because they had just come off their successful album to date, which was their self titled album, also known as the White Album. They had just recruited Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, who were both romantically involved with one another. They ended up breaking up during the production of this album. And to make matters more complicated, too, John and Christine McVie ended up getting divorced because of allegations of infidelity. And Mick Fleetwood was already getting divorced from his wife because his wife cheated on him with Dave Wen, who was a former, or Dave Weston, who was a former member of Fleetwood Mac. And you could tell that most of these songs here were just them making jabs at one another kind of thing. But it worked though. But they were so unsure if this album was going to be successful that, oh my God, dude, that they were just so depressed at that time. Like, in addition to like their tumultuous relationships that all fell apart, they also ended up having severe cocaine abuse as well. Like, they said there was a line in every single corner of the studio that they were recording at, and even the producers who were working on this album were also taking bumps as well too. Like,
Just bumps, not any rails.
yeah. Or I don't know, dude. Like, either one of them goes fine, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in the end, this album did so fucking great, dude. It is considered one of the greatest albums of all time. It's at number 7 on the list. And let me see if I can find it. They've won some Grammy Awards for this album, if I can find it. Where are you, you piece of shit? Alrighty. No, like I said, I know they ended up getting some Grammys for it. I think it was like a record of the year, if I remember correctly. Let me just take a look here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, but it won Album of the Year at the 1978 Grammy Awards. Or it's considered Fleetwood Mac's magnum opus and one of the greatest albums of all time. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2003. And yeah, dude, it's a fucking amazing. If you haven't listened to it, I would recommend it definitely.
Okay, I'll give it a listen.
Yeah. So obviously, some of my favorite tracks on here include "Dreams," which was sang by Stevie Nicks. Um, "Don't Stop," which is a great song. It was, I think probably, in my opinion, it's their best song and probably my overall favorite song from this album. It is done. It was "Don't Stop," sung by Lindsey Buckingham with Christine McVie. The next song, "Go Your Own Way," it was pretty much a Lindsey Buckingham singing to Stevie, "Go fuck yourself and fuck off." I'm not kidding, dude. If you look up the history about it, dude, it was pretty much him telling Stevie to fuck off, literally. Oh shit, my headphones are disconnected. Hold on. Okay, I'm hooked up again.
Okay.
And it almost felt like Lifeline came off from the hospital bed. The next one here, called "The Chain." It was sang over mainly by Lindsey Buckingham with Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie. Pretty much doing the background vocals. Next one, it's a song that I do have, but I don't listen to a lot of. It's "You Make Loving Fun," which is considered Christine McVie's greatest song ever. But it was pretty much about her affair with one of the behind the scenes crew members of this album. I'm not kidding.
Well, I believe you. It's just I've never heard of a band with like so much fucking drama in it that actually stayed together. Usually when some shit like that goes down, they break up, you know?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. All right, let me quickly get back to you on that. And then the last song, probably Stevie Nicks' greatest song, "Gold Dust Woman." I can't remember if it was about anything, but yeah, dude, it took them literally 10 years for the cracks to really finally happen because after they released "Tango in the Night" in 1987. Lindsey Buckingham announced that he was leaving the band to pursue other stuff, and that infuriated Stevie Nicks because Lindsey was promising to get back with her at that point, and apparently a physical altercation happened between them.
Okay.
And then finally, it all just unfolded in, I think it was 1993 or whatever. And it took President Bill Clinton to convince Fleetwood Mac to get back together because he wanted them to perform at his inauguration.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they've had on and off reunions and whatnot, but they officially like kind of broke up overall after Christine McVie passed away in 2022, and Mick Fleetwood, who is the co-founder, said that he's open to possibly reuniting, but he doesn't know when or if they have the foresight to do it. And you know what the funny thing is? Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, they've been sharing cryptic posts insinuating that they might reunite for music.
Okay.
They've already are making plans to release a remastered version of their only album they released together, Buckingham Nicks. And I don't know, man. It's what I've been hearing. That's all I got to say about this album, man.
Okay.
But holy fuck, this album, man.
All right. My next one is it's a Deer Hunter album. It's one of their acts. It's Act 5, Hymns with the Devil and Confessional. There's gonna be one more act after this, and then that'll be it for the acts storyline.
Yeah.
Uh, Out of all the acts, this is the best one. Like it started with Act 1, and it just kept getting better and better and better as it went on.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the the storyline is so fucking good. And the way the album concludes gives you chills. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but oh my God, so powerful.
Right?
Then yeah, it's like an hour 15 minutes. It's really good.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it because I don't want to spoil the storyline. So on to you.
All right, man. The next one that I have is the Goo Goo Dolls 1995 album, A Boy Named Goo.
All right, keep talking. I gotta pee. I'm listening though.
Yeah, all right. So this is probably their best work in my opinion, and oh my god, the overall sound for this album, people, is it's like college music in my opinion in the 90s. Ugh. Ugh. This album, oh my god, dude. And it was their first studio album to not have 14 tracks, obviously, because they ended up releasing only 13 of them. And but oh my god, all the songs, dude, I loved all of them. Just fucking amazing. Probably my most favorite one on this album. It's just called Name. And ladies and gentlemen, to give you an idea of this, if I ever get married, and the key word is if, I'm gonna have this song playing at my wedding. This is I'm having this as my wedding song. I don't care what anyone says, even if whoever I marry. But yeah, dude, I would consider this a college rock album, in my opinion. It's just great, man. It's oh my god, man. This, in my opinion, is like I said, we Aegis and I were talking about like the pinnacle of like 95 music that came out in 95, and in my opinion, this was another one right here. Along with Jagged Little Pill, The Bends, What's the Story, Morning Glory, dude. Oh, just oh. I got nothing. It's also a the genres was like alternative rock, power pop, pop punk, and post grunge.
Got
Just oh my god. On to you.
all right. My next one is another Deer Hunter album. It's their most recent album. It's called Antimai. It's the beginning of a new storyline called the Indigo Child series.
All right.
And Antimai might just be their best album so far. And most likely it's going to be either this year or the next year. He's releasing a sequel to it. It's going to be called Sunya. It's kind of like a dystopian government kind of storyline.
Okay.
Because this album, Antimai, introduces the location of Antimai, which is divided into rings. Ring 8 is poverty, Ring 7 is industry, which is like forced labor. Ring 6 is low town, Ring
Oh yeah.
5 is middle class, Ring 4 is patrol, which is like police kind of thing. Ring 3 is luxury, which is the rich people and the leaders of the government. Ring
Okay.
2 is nature, and Ring 1 is tower. And literally the leader of this government is ex-CB, who is the only one who really steps foot in the tower.
Okay. For some reason, dude, with how you're telling the story, man, it almost reminds me of, the storyline that they were intending to do for the Who's 19, their rock opera follow up Lifehouse that eventually got abandoned in favor of Who's Next. Yeah, it
Ah,
almost reminds me of that.
okay. It was a really good album. I would highly recommend it. And then as soon as Sunday comes out, there's one thing that Keith Crescenzo said about Sonya. This dude asked him about it, like when it's going to come out at a concert, and
Yeah.
the leader of the band, Casey, he said, "It's my favorite thing we've ever done, and what I'm currently finishing up." So it's probably going to be their best album so far, too. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, on to you.
Just quickly commenting on something. Give me a moment. Okay, so my next entry, Aegis, is the album that we needed at the right place at the right time. And I'm, of course, talking about, in my opinion, Green Day's greatest work and their magnum opus, American Idiot from 2004. This is, no, like I said, man, this was the album that we needed at the right time because it was 2004. It was an election year. And there were so many people that were protesting George W. Bush, the then president of the United States, and his handling of the Iraq War. There were like probably the rallies and protests for end this war now. I don't think was that increased much more since the Vietnam War, in my opinion. This is right now considered one of the all-time greatest albums, and it is listed at 248 on the Rolling Stones greatest albums of all time list. This is a punk rock opera about Jesus of Suburbia, is what his name is. I did not even know it was a rock opera at first until I read more into it. The artwork obviously pretty much says it all, dude. It really does.
Let me look it up.
Like I'm telling you, man, like what is there to say about this? The album cover says it all for this, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It is a hand holding what's supposed to look like a heartbeat, but it's a hand grenade. And remember, like I said, this was during a tumultuous time in America because not only did 9/11 happen about 2.5 to 3 years earlier, but then there was the war in Afghanistan, and then we went to Iraq to overthrow Saddam Hussein. But there were so many people who were so convinced that we only went to Iraq to get their oil. And there was like chance of no blood for oil or impeach Bush. And then the faces of deception, because not only were people going after George W. Bush, they were also going after Colin Powell, the then Secretary of State, Donald Rumsfeld, who was the Secretary of Defense, and Condoleezza Rice, who I can't remember. She was, I think, the Attorney General or one of the ambassadors. I can't remember, honestly. But yeah, then of course there was also people that were also going after Dick Cheney, the vice president, too. They had an album that they were planning to release called Cigarettes and Valentines, but those master tapes got stolen and were never found.
Damn.
So they decided to redo everything from scratch, and it ended up becoming this album. So if you ask me, the theft of those master tapes was a blessing in disguise. And dude, there were so many great songs that came out of this, but let me put it to you of how this album came out. Let me see here. It was nominated for Album of the Year and won the award for Best Rock Album at the 2005 Grammys. I'm actually wondering, who did they lose to for Album of the Year? Let me take a look. Let's see here. Oh, they lost to Here We Go Again, but that was done by Ray Charles and Norah Jones, who are huge names in the blues thing.
Yeah, I do really like Ray Charles. He was blind, right? I'm thinking of the right guy.
Yeah. Oh, it was him that was a record of the year, but album of the year is what I wanted, and it was his album Genius Loves Company that won it. It was his 62nd and final studio album, and it was released posthumously in 2004. Let's see here. Yeah, dude, he had just passed away on June 10th, 2004. So yeah, yeah, man. Let's see here. It was also nominated for Best Album at the Europe Music Awards and the Billboard Music Awards. Like, this album's amazing. It's got so much great songs on here. Like, let me put it to you this way. American Idiot, the title track. Obviously, it was one of the main menu songs on Madden 2005, which I keep telling you about, which in my opinion is the greatest soundtrack for any fucking video game. Madden 2005, people. And of course, their most well-known song, "Holiday," is also on here. It was an anti-war protest song. And then "Boulevard of Broken Dreams," a power ballad. And then we ended up having probably my most favorite song overall on here, "Wake Me Up When September Ends." And the music video is also considered another sad music video too, because it tells the story of a young man who decides to sign up to join the army to fight in Iraq, and his girlfriend was pleading with him to not do it. He ends up going there, and it ends with him getting killed.
Damn.
So if you ask me, I think that was a kind of a retrospective song. I think in reference to I don't know if you know who Pat Tillman is.
I don't.
So Pat Tillman was a former NFL player who played for the Arizona Cardinals. He decided to quit football altogether to join up, and he ended up getting killed himself. And he's still remembered to this day by the NFL. Like the whole out, like I said, like I know a lot of people have pretty much said like, oh, they sold out and whatnot, for the sake of fame or whatnot, but I don't think that was true. Like I said, this was the album that we needed at that time. And even my dad and my mom, who are as anti-war as you can get, they said that this album encapsulated everything that was going on of how everyone was feeling. This album here was even considered one of my big soundtracks when I was in 5th grade. This album came out when I was in 5th grade. So, and I was still trying to understand what the hell was going on and all that. But like I said, looking back on it now, dude, 21 years since this album came out, we needed this fucking album. We really did. And it came out at the right fucking time. On to you.
All right, my next one is The Crane Wife by the Decemberists. Uh, the album was inspired by a Japanese folk tale and centers on two song cycles, The Crane Wife and The Island, the latter of which was inspired by William Shakespeare's The Tempest. NPR listeners voted The Crane Wife the best album of 2006.
Nice. Now, this was the
Yeah,
album that you had me listen to. And so this was the album that pretty much introduced me to this band.
yeah, and this is their best album, The Crane Wife. Yeah, The Crane Wife is an old Japanese folk tale. While there are many variations of the tale, a common version is that a poor man finds an injured crane on his doorstep or outside with an arrow in it, takes it, and nurses it back to health. After he releases the crane, a woman appears on his doorstep with whom he falls in love and marries. Because they
Yeah.
need money, his wife offers to weave wondrous clothes out of silk that they can sell in the market, but only if he agrees never to watch her making them. They begin to sell them and live a comfortable life, but he soon makes her weave them more and more. Oblivious to his wife's declining health, his greed increases. He eventually peeks to see what she is doing to make the silk she weaves so desirable. He is shocked to discover that the loom is a crane plucking feathers out of her own body and weaving them into the loom. The crane, seeing him, flies away and never returns.
What a shame.
Yep, that's the story of the Crane Wife.
Okay. I got
But no,
you.
this is their best album. It's got the Crane Wife songs, The Island, Yankee Bayonet, O Valencia, The Perfect Crime 2, When the War Came, Shankill Butchers, Summer Song, Sons and Daughters, The Culling of the Fold, and After the Bombs.
Oof, the man.
Such a good album. I would highly recommend it. It is described as indie rock, progressive folk, progressive rock, and art rock.
Yeah, and I know how you are about your prog stuff and even your art rock
Yep.
stuff. So
All right, on to you.
the next one here is one of my top overall favorite albums, and I believe this is their greatest work right here. Hollywood Undead's 2017 album, 5. And dude, this is a deeply personal album for me because this whole album overall was my soundtrack when when I was going to Mesabi Range College and when we went to our bowl game in December of 2017. This was my whole overall soundtrack for that whole trip from when we departed all the way to when we got back, dude. So many great songs. California Dreaming, Whatever It Takes, fucking Renegade, Pray, Put 'Em in the Dirt, Riot. Like, it's all great, man. Like, let me see how I could describe this whole story to you quick, if I may. So we end up leaving around like it was 4 or 5 in the morning, right? That we had to leave because our bowl game was in Chicago, Illinois, when we had to go there. On our way there, the van that I was driving in broke down, and we had to have the bus come back to get us because me and some of the coaching staff were driving separate. They had to come and get us. We had to get all of our bags out. We had to throw everything into the bus, and we were all so fucking crammed because there were so many of us. It was oh my god, dude. We finally get to La Crosse, Wisconsin to do our quick run through or walk through for football. And Renegade was the song that I was listening to the whole time we were doing the walkthrough. So because we ended up going to the University of Wisconsin La Crosse's campus, and we did our walkthrough on their field. Then we get back on the bus. We continue the push to get to Illinois. I think we ended up stopping somewhere to get food quick at one point. Or I think we just made it all the way to Chicago. And then obviously California Dreaming was the song that I was listening to when we finally made it there and got to our hotel suites. Beautiful, luxurious hotel suites. Then we end up meeting the team that we were meeting that we were gonna play, which was fuck, I can't remember. They were a team that we were playing against, who's in Chicago, based there. Shit, I can't remember, but all I know is that we did our introductory press conference. They were doing a whole banquet for all of us, and it ended chaotically because one guy decided to start shit. I ended up saying something that completely instigated all of it. And and even then, right afterwards, my head coach was like, Roger, sometimes I never understood you. And all the years that I've known you, I never really could understand you. At least in a funny, jovial kind of way. Because he was someone who I already knew. Because when I went to ICC my first year, he was our head football coach there. So I already worked with him. And then my last year at Mesabi, when we changed coaches, he came in. And he really turned that program around. Okay, so the next day, we obviously decide to do like some charity events or whatnot. The team who we were going to play ended up doing something at one of the old folks' homes, a event for them. We ended up packing like how much food for to send out to like the homeless places. We ended up packing over 500 boxes. And what song was I playing listening to that whole time? Pray, Put 'Em in the Dirt. I don't know why. It was just there at that time for whatever fucking reason. Then next we do our walkthrough at the field that we were gonna play our game on, and it was a riot that I was listening to during that, and it was a somber moment because I was like, this is my last walkthrough or practice I'm ever gonna do for at the junior college level that I was in, because I was going to a NCAA school that next year. Then we finally do our game, and the song was Whatever It Takes. And then finally, right after we got done with that game, I was like, it's over, man. It's over. let me tell you, the one thing I did not miss was that fucking ride back. It was so bad, dude. Like, yeah, we had guys who are literally sleeping on the ground in the walk aisles, blocking where the bathroom was. And there were so many of them that apparently did get stepped on. That was probably the most grueling 9.5 hours I ever had in my life. And that's why this album is deeply personal to me, is because it just helped encapsulate what was going to be my last ever football game at Misabi Range. And that was our first bowl game that our program had in nearly 30 years. And getting to be a part of that experience, dude, it meant a whole fucking lot to me.
All right, my next one, I don't have much to say about it just because I can't find a lot of info on it. It's called Polka's Not Dead by the Dreadnoughts. My ex actually got me into this album, and I like it a lot. It's
Yeah.
uh, the Dreadnoughts music. I don't know exactly what genre you'd consider that album in particular, but their music is usually like folk punk, Celtic punk, polka punk, gypsy punk, folk sea shanty, folk rock, scrumpy, and western.
Yeah, the Celtic stuff we do try to play a lot of on my radio station, dude. The one band that we often try to do is like fuck they're the ones that did the Dead Kick Murphys or Drop Kick Murphys. I meant to say we play a lot of them on there when we try to.
Yeah, Polka's Not Dead. My favorite songs on it are Cider Road, Gentleman's Club. Gentleman's Club is actually my favorite song in the entire album.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
Goblin Humpa, and I'd say like Poutine is also really good.
Poutine.
But no, I'd highly recommend that album. It's pretty good.
Alrighty.
All right, on to you.
All right. Now this next one here. Oh my god. Ah, this it is simply titled Senjutsu. It was released by Iron Maiden in 2021. It's Japanese for tactics, and oh my god, dude, I think this might be their greatest work ever, dude, in my opinion. And check this out, dude. I had to get it, man. I had to fucking get this masterpiece. Oh, such a great, beautiful work here, dude. It is like I said, dude, this album actually came out at another good time for me because shortly after I moved here to Grand Rapids, dude, is when this album came out, dude. And the first time I've listened to this album, dude, I've listened to the whole thing from beginning to end while I was playing Doom Eternal. This, even though they never considered this a concept album or said if it was a concept album, I believe it is. Mainly because of the references or everything that was said about each song on here, or like, you know, the themes, the different themes of all the songs on here, dude. Obviously, the title track, Senjutsu, kicks the album off, dude, and it is probably one of the most sinister openings I heard, dude. Because if you listen to that opening for this song, dude, it's like it's basically a war is about to break out. It's like a battle cry sound, in my opinion. Another good song, Lost in a Lost World's another great one. Stratego is really great. Days of Future Past, dude. Darkest Hour, Death of the Celts, The Parchment, and probably oh god, dude. Hell on Earth's probably the greatest ending for any album, in my opinion, dude. Right after the Hawaiian fires happened, dude, I did a tribute song and I played it I simply did this song because when I was watching ABC News and they were reporting on it, the title that they used was appropriate, Hell on Earth, and I went back to this song and I ended up playing it. It's overall, dude, the title track Senjutsu, probably my most favorite Iron Maiden song and one of my all-time favorite songs here. And Oh my God, dude. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. What the fuck are you people waiting for, you know? Um, I'm trying to see if it how it did. Like it did actually great, dude. It got 4.5 to 5 stars overall. It's a great dude. Um, let me see here. I was trying to figure out. They did win a lot of awards, dude, but it wasn't like at the Grammys. It was like for like other awards that they ended up winning, like um, yeah, the UK Music Video Awards because they are from the UK. They even did a tribute about to Ozzy Osbourne on one of their live shows, saying like if it wasn't for Ozzy, we would not be here right now. Like, dude, there is so much more I could say about this album, but I'm gonna stop myself right now. You go right ahead.
All
You're
right.
up.
All right, we're
We'll
not going to
do.
say much on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll but you do your album and then we'll do a break afterwards. So
Okay. I'm not going to say much on this one. It's Parasomnia by Dream Theater, mainly just because we already did a video talking about that whole album,
you
Parasomnia by Dream Theater.
you might as well just
It,
say whatever to remind everyone.
yeah, it's my favorite album that Dream Theater has done so far. And it's kind of a concept album about like parasomnia, like sleep disorders and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know, like there's songs about night terrors. My favorite song on the album is called Midnight Messiah. Is I don't know. It's a really good album. Go listen to it.
yeah. I know that in some reason I really do not know which song would be my favorite. I really loved it, dude. If they would have did a just imagine if someone did like a film that went with this album, man.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That heck, even I would have said about Senjutsu, dude, if you would have did like a Japanese movie or whatever that take like the themes of the game Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, or Ghost of Tsushima, and you put this album on here, dude, oh my god, that would be a great immersive experience. Just like with Parasomnia, if they did a movie, it would be a great immersive experience too. Some reason, every time when I hear the song "The Shadow Man Incident," I keep harping back to "A View from the Top of the World," which was an album that they released previously before Parasomnia. And then aside from that, dude, Mike Portnoy, dude, who was one of the original members, dude, he ended up returning for this album.
Hmm.
I mean, what else is there to say, dude? I really don't know what my favorite song is. Like Bend the Clock, dude, with that opening, dude. I was like, what the fuck? What is going on here, you know?
All
Y-
right. Ready to go on to a break?
Yep, I was gonna say, yeah. I say, let's take a break, smoke them if you got them, drink them if you got them, and whatnot. It'll be a good time because I need to check see if my laundry's all done because I don't have any underwear on right now. I really gotta start buying more undies. So, but all right, folks. So that being said, we are gonna take a short break. It'll give me time to like pull up all the Wikipedia pages I'll need for the next 10 albums, and don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Booyah! Welcome back to the show that's dedicated to reminding you that pop music is fucking dumb.
Yup.
I mean, seriously, fuck Taylor Swift, fuck Beyonce, and fuck everyone else that's in that genre.
Can't forget Ed Sheeran. He's annoying.
Yeah, but I like him as a person, though. You know,
Yeah. I
I
don't
don't
really care
listen
about
to any of his
him.
stuff either. So,
Oh,
all
Bruno
right.
Mars too. Can't forget Bruno Mars.
Oh my god,
His voice is so annoying.
don't even fucking start with that cunt right now, man. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we covered our first 10 albums for each of us. That's 20 overall. We got 40 more albums to get through, 20 for each of us. So, we're going to try and do what we can. All right. So, obviously, for this next album that I'm going to choose, it is going to be none other than Judas Priest's 1986 album, Turbo. Now, this album right here. So in the 80s, you had the likes of soft rock and new wave music, but there is another genre that I feel people don't understand a whole lot of, and it is called glam metal. It has like that 80s wavy like style to it with the heavy metal sound, you know? And a lot of people say that this album is it really sucks and whatnot, but in my opinion, I don't really think so. I really like the overall sound of it, you know? Obviously, it includes one of my all time favorite Judas Priest songs, Turbo Lover, to start it off. And that guitar shred that you hear at the beginning, probably the best guitar shred of an opener ever, in my opinion. I also got my favorites that are also locked in that I try to play a lot of on my shows. Private Property is another good one. In my opinion, this is probably their best song, in my opinion. I don't know why, but Out in the Cold or Out in the Cold is like their most underappreciated or underrated song, in my opinion. Turbo Lover, we all know, is their best song overall, but my most favorite, I think, would be Out in the Cold, in my opinion. It is obviously a great album, in my opinion, and I just love the sound of it, you know, like the glam metal is a subgenre of heavy metal that features pop-influenced hooks and guitar riffs, upbeat rock anthems, and slow power ballads. And this was like one of the defining genres of the 1980s, and we all know the 80s had great music. And this is, in my opinion, maybe their best album behind their 1982 album, Screaming for Vengeance. Like, I just love it. It's amazing.
My next one is Tarkus by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yes.
Definitely their best album.
And their best song, obviously, is their title track.
Hmm. Yeah, we covered this in the album review a while ago. It's about war and war weapons and shit like that.
Yeah.
Because it's about this tank, this armadillo tank called Tarkus.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
Oh, no, there's not much to say about it.
yeah. Even then, the album cover is really great too. You know, I really
Yeah, it's got a
liked it.
cool album cover.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say about the album that hasn't been said? You know, I mean, fuck.
All right, on to you.
All right. This next one here, obviously, Led Zeppelin 4 by Led Zeppelin from 1971. Their greatest work and considered one of the all time greatest albums. And you know what? And for many years, the mystery was, who is this man right here? They ended up finding it out. It's a Wiltshire Thatcher named Lot Long.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is his actual name, literally. Like somebody ended up finding a picture of him one day, and they were like, "Yep, they found him." The photograph was taken by Ernest Howard Farmer, and I was intending to like download a copy of this and print it for myself, hang it up somewhere, and see if anyone could understand the reference.
Hmm.
But what is there to say about this album? This is Led Zeppelin's greatest work, and it has so many legendary songs on here, you know? And obviously, we have Black Dog, which obviously was, I think, in reference to like one day they were just sitting around and they just found a black dog just running around, and they were like, okay, let's do something with that.
Mhm.
And then obviously, probably one of the most fucking underrated names or overrated names, just simply titled Rock and Roll for the next track. And then we got the Battle of Evermore that had the likes of Sandy Denny doing the backup music, who was the lead singer for the British folk rock band Fairport Convention. And then obviously closing side one is probably their greatest song and one of the all-time greatest rock songs, Stairway to Heaven. And then we opened side two with one song that I often play whenever I'm really high as hell, and it's called Misty Mountain Hop. Four Sticks is another good song here. Going to California has like that folksy like sound on there. And then, of course, we conclude the album with the one song that I always play. That is, if I'm escaping prison, it would be my theme song, "When the Levee Breaks," which is obvious. Which the drumming was done by John Bonzo Bonham, and "When the Levee Breaks" is probably his greatest work when it came to the drumming. This album right here is let me see if I can find it. Da, 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 da. Yes, it is considered one of the all-time greatest works, and it's listed at number 58 on Rolling Stone's top 500 greatest albums of all time. This album, if I remember correctly, for like the ratings, it got like 4 to 5 stars. Yep, full 5 stars for every
Excuse me.
category here. Just a masterpiece. This is the pinnacle of early 70s rock. You're up.
All right, my next one is Here Come the Warm Jets by Brian Eno. My sister got me into this album and I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's got art rock, avant pop, glam rock, experimental pop, art pop, and pop rock. Uh, it's got a lot of really good musicians in it. It's got Brian Eno, of course, uh, Chris Ace Spedding, Phil Manzanero, who is from 801,
Hell yeah.
Simon King, Bill McCormick, Marty Simon, Busta Jones. It's got Robert Fripp, who's the leader of King Crimson, Paul Rudolph, John Wetton, Andy McKay, Paul Thompson, Lloyd Watson, and Chris Thomas. It's a really good album. It's got songs such as Needles in the Camel's Eye, which is a reference to a biblical verse where it's like it is harder for a rich man to go to heaven than it is to stick a camel through a needle's eye.
Oh yeah. No
And
doubt
it's,
about it.
it's got a song called the Papa Negro Blowtorch, Baby's on Fire, Cindy Tells Me, Driving Me Backwards, On Some Faraway Beach, Blank Frank, Dead Finks Don't Talk. Some of them are old. And then the title song, Here Come the Warm Jets.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's honestly, as far as Brian Eno goes, this is his best non-instrumental album.
Yeah.
All right. I got nothing else to say about it. On to you.
All right. My next entry is Linkin Park's debut album from 2000, Hybrid Theory. Now, what is there to say about this album that hasn't been said? I mean, what is there to say? This is considered one of the greatest debut albums of all time. It's gotten 4.5 to 5 stars rated. It is let me see if I can find where it. I know it's listed on the Rolling Stones greatest albums of all time. Obviously, fuck, where are you? Where are you? Like it is still listed like somewhere on there, but I can't find it. But it's listed on that work and all that. So it's obviously one of the new metal bands and whatnot. And a fusion of hip hop and heavy metal because of the hip hop verses of Mike Shinoda and then the singing of Chester Bennington, dude. You can't go wrong with that. It is very Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. At the 44th Grammy Awards in 2002, they won Best Hard Rock Performance for the song Crawling, which was listed on there. It is, I mean, it's really, really amazing that this album did great. Even after Chester Bennington took his own life, dude, the album ended up reaching #1 on the iTunes and Amazon Music charts. So it ended up really launching off right after that whole tragedy, man.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing piece of work right here. And even then, with some of those songs on here, for some reason, it almost has that spacey like vibe on it, which I do like. One Step Closer, Points of Authority, Runaway, In the End, which is probably their biggest song here. Like their biggest song overall for their what they've released, and their #1 song on this album. And then A Place for My Head, which is my most favorite song on here. And Pushing Me Away, like it is just great stuff. They even ended up doing a 20th anniversary the album that they released in 2020, and it had the unreleased track She Couldn't, which I would recommend you give a listen if you can.
Okay.
But it's a great album. Like I said, there's a reason it's one of the best debut albums of all time. You're up, boy.
All right. My next one, I had to pick for a Haken album. I had to pick between either Vector or Virus, and I chose Virus. Uh, it is their sixth album. It's progressive metal, progressive rock, and djent. Uh,
Ha!
excuse me. So let's see. The album continues the story from Vector while expanding a concept initiated with Cockroach King from their 2013 album The Mountain. According to Henshaw, we wanted to provide a backstory to the protagonist we introduced in that song. So on Vector, we see the character institutionalized. Then with Virus, the narrative follows his maniacal downfall. The epic song Messiah Complex references melodies and themes from that song. According to Jennings, it explores the idea of a tyrannical government, the narcissism that surrounds it, and seeing the rise and fall of the Cockroach King as a political virus. It's a fictional tale, but there's also an element of putting a mirror up to the negative world we live in. Henshaw also said that the song was based on one of the final riffs presented in the initial version of Nil by Mouth from Vector, which was originally 11 minutes long.
Yeah.
The themes present in the album are institutional abuse, physical and mentally abusive relationships, anxiety, depression, and suicidal tendencies.
Damn, son.
All right, yeah, it's got some really good songs on it too. Let's see. It's got Prosthetic, which is probably the best song of the album. Invasion, Carousel, The Strain, Canary Yellow. Then it's got Messiah Complex 1, Ivory Tower, Messiah Complex 2, Glutton for Punishment, Messiah Complex 3, Marigold, Messiah Complex 4, The Sect, which is my favorite of the Messiah Complex songs, and then Messiah Complex 5, Ectobius Rex. And then it concludes with Only Stars. It's a great album.
Now, let me ask you this. With the album being released in a certain year, don't you think it's just a fucking coincidence?
Oh, it's no coincidence. They probably fully intended it to have heavy political meaning.
Yeah. And especially with how there was COVID-19 going on, and then they named it Virus, and then the album cover just shows a little virus cell there.
Yep. I do love that cover design. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that looks like it almost looks like one of them virus cells that I saw in that one episode of Jimmy Neutron.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. I got nothing else to say. On to you.
This next one right here, Nickelback's 2003 album, The Long Road. Now, this is an album. Now, I am such a diehard Nickelback fan, and I know there's a lot of fucking haters out there, and honestly, I could give a shit less about their fucking opinions. But yeah, this album right here, it didn't do really well in terms of like the star ratings or whatnot. Gained like only 2 to 3 stars, but I think it was probably my most favorite album from them overall because I love the music on here. The song Someday, which is my most favorite song on here. Then Feeling Way Too Damn Good, Because of You, Figured You Out. Should have listened to another great fucking song right there. Like, there's so much to say about it. The what I know that the song that these songs revolved around topics ranging from breakups, self-harm, sex, and personal motivation. And yeah, it's just it's a great it's a really great fucking album, man. I really loved it. I enjoyed having fun listening to it, man. Anytime I was taking trips up to Duluth with my family, I would put the disc on and we would
Mm.
just listen to the whole thing from beginning to end. And then it was how I got into it was that it was mainly because of the song Hero, which is from the fucking Spider-Man movie, the Tobey Maguire one, the only true Spider-Man in my opinion. And Chad Kroeger was one of the main singers on that song right there. And then I listened to Nickelback, and the rest is history. Still waiting
Okay.
for new music by them. Their music is what I always look forward to. Like I will just sit here and just be like, come on, come on, come on, hurry up. And then finally, yes! Headphones on, hit play, and just tune out. On to you.
All right. My next one is In the Court of the Crimson King by Who Else But King Crimson.
Hmm.
It was their first album released October 10th, 1969. It is, of course, progressive rock and art rock. In 2015, the album was ranked number two on Rolling Stone's list of the 50 greatest prog rock albums of all time, behind 1973's The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah. And this was like one of the pioneering albums that brought in the prog rock era, didn't it?
Yep, yep. This is probably, in my opinion, is probably the most influential piece of prog rock.
Yeah. And
Scott,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to list off the songs on it.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, it's got 21st Century Schizoid Man, which is one of my two favorite songs on this. I Talk to the Wind, Epitaph, Moonchild, and The Court of the Crimson King. All
Hell
really
yeah.
good songs.
Yeah. Wait, those are the only songs on there?
Yeah, it was only 43 minutes long.
Jeez. I know that alongside with that album, there was also okay, so Genesis, I know, was another pioneering band, but their debut album was not even considered prog rock. It was just more like folk rock and rock music, and that's it. But then they really ended up really spearheading the prog rock sound with their second album. And then you had the likes of Yes, who I think also released their first album in '69, if I can remember correctly. But yeah, King Crimson, Genesis, and Yes are like the big three for the prog rock movement.
All right, yeah, that's all I really got to say about that album. Not much to it.
Alrighty. Now, this next one here is N.W.A.'s 1991 album, E Phil for Zagan, which is backwards for, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Ends for Life.
Yeah, and we're just going to leave it at that. And obviously, this, just like with their debut album, Straight Outta Compton, this album was heavily criticized for making very misogynistic, sexist profanity stuff, you know, but they obviously did not even care at that point. Eazy-E even said that he intended to make his music like this to piss everyone off and be like, if you guys don't like it, fuck all y'all.
Hmm.
Now, this was at a very challenging period for N.W.A. because not only not only was Dr. Dre becoming more distrustful of their manager Jerry Heller, but he was feuding with Eazy-E about terms of like the sound, and Suge Knight obviously came into the picture, you know, and he had to tell Dre, hey, you gotta get yourself out, man. And Dre was becoming concerned about his payments, or like how much he was getting for money, and he turned out that he had the worst contract of all of them. they ended up learning that they were only getting like 2% from album sales and live shows, while Eazy-E and Jerry Heller were getting the last of the 98.
Holy
And
shit.
in addition to that, there was actually diss tracks that they made on here in reference to Ice Cube, because Ice Cube left for in 89 for that same reason, because he felt he wasn't getting the proper compensation he deserved. And they pretty much attacked him as being a coward and all that. And he was like, I never said anything, and now they're trying to diss. And then we saw what he did with No Vaseline, which was one of the most vicious diss tracks ever. So obviously, in my opinion, for this album, I loved the overall sound. It was the album that ushered in what was called the G-Funk era. And I think this album, it's gotta have a world record for like how many times they said the N-word on it. Yeah, it's great music. The only reason I got into this album was because they had one song on here that was from the fucking GTA San Andreas, which I liked, and it's always in the something. And then we got Appetite for Destruction, which was on GTA 5. It's some really good stuff, like even all the fucking names of the titles I can't even say on here. I can't say it on here. I'm gonna let you guys fucking figure that out for yourselves. But fucking A, dude. I love the album. It's probably their most underappreciated album, but then of course they only released 2 albums, so your turn. I want to
All
fucking
right,
move on from it.
my next one is a live album. It's called Radical Action to Unseat the Hold of Monkey Mind by King Crimson.
Where the fuck do they come up with these stupid ass names?
It was actually a very there is from a song on the album called Radical Action. It's
Oh,
kind of a political song. Uh,
okay.
it is a box set of live performances by King Crimson, which I have on CD, released on September 2nd, 2016. It is the first full-length release by the seven-member incarnation of the group that was formed in 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the box set was recorded during King Crimson's 2015 tours of Japan, Canada, and France, mostly in Takamatsu, Japan. The material performed is mostly from the 1969 to 1974 period, and most had not been performed live since the 70s, although the songs were rearranged to suit the current lineup. Also included are some pieces from 1995 and onward, alongside new material. The title is derived from a song of the same name that the band had been playing in concert.
Yeah.
And the rest is doesn't really matter. But no, I also really like this album cover.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, the music is really good. Let's see how long it is. Let's see, it's a 3 disc set, I think. First disc is 54 minutes, second disc is 52 minutes, and the third disc is 54 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Then it also came with a Blu-ray disc that has some live performances on it, which I haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about Radical Action to unseat the hold of Monkey Mind.
Yeah. All right. Next up for my list is none other than Oasis's greatest work here. What's the Story, Morning Glory from 1995, another pinnacle album from that year, and obviously with the likes of a boy named Goo, Jagged Little Pill, the Bends. It's another defining album from that era. Yeah, this was only Oasis's second album, and they made a fucking impression on here, in my opinion, man. And obviously, it was the pinnacle of 90s music. Like, it's considered one of the greatest of all time. Let me see here. All right, where are you, Legacy? It has 5 stars overall for it, and it's considered an album that's on 1,001 albums you must listen to before you die. It is listed at 157 on the 500 greatest albums of all time. Unfortunately, I don't think it did much in terms of like any Grammy awards, but yeah, it should have. In my opinion, they should have gotten Grammys for it, but they were stiffed.
None of the
They
bands who and artists who really deserve Grammys ever get Grammys.
exactly, yeah. That's I know that one of these days I want to do a podcast episode talking about all the issues that are with the Grammy Awards.
Hmm.
I know they got a lot of great tunes on here. Wonderwall's obviously their most well-known song on here. Don't Look Back in Anger. Funny thing is, between Liam and Noel Gallagher, Noel went to Liam and said, "You have two choices. You have to either sing Wonderwall or Don't Look Back in Anger." And Liam wanted to did do a bit of Don't Look Back in Anger, but Noel said, "Nope, you're doing Wonderwall. You suck at it."
Hmm.
Another great tune on here, some might say, Morning Glory, and then obviously the album closes out with probably the greatest closing track of any album and one of my all-time favorite songs overall and my most favorite Oasis song, Champagne Supernova, which is probably also one of my fucking favorite music videos. Like the overall sound, dude, of Champagne Supernova and the music video, dude, it is as fucking 90s nostalgic as you can get. There was another song that I feel should have been added to the album, and it's called Aquaseas. It was released as a B-side, and it was released on their B-side album that they released afterwards, but this song should have been added to the album, in my opinion. But aside from that, it's a great album, dude. It really is.
All right, my next one is Melodies of Atonement by Leprous. Honestly, it's their newest album. It's their best so far, too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're a progressive metal band. And let's see. Yeah, Don Lawson of Blabbermouth.net said that the album is the sound of Leprous rediscovering their potency as a living, breathing band and is the kind of immaculate statement that we expect, but this time Leprous are really hammering it home.
Yeah.
And it's, I know, their best song on there deserved a Grammy for best metal performance, but it wasn't even nominated.
Oh yeah.
Atonement, talk to you about that.
Yeah.
It's got Silently Walking Alone, Atonement, which is the best song on the album. My Spectre, I Hear the Sirens Like a Sunken Ship, Limbo, Faceless Starlight, Self-Satisfied Lullaby, and Unfree My Soul.
Nice, nice.
And honestly, if you ask me, the vocalist for Leprous is one of my favorite vocalists of all time.
Yeah, I know that you did play a little bit of them for me, but I just couldn't get into him for some reason.
Yeah.
So
All right, on to you.
alrighty. My next one here is the Alan Parsons Project's 1980 album, The Turn of a Friendly Card. Now, I obviously have that vinyl, but it's in the my vinyl box that has the entire discography of the project, and I do not want to open it just to show you. Yeah, but it is a concept album that focuses on the gambling industry and the fate of gamblers, and it makes a lot of references to Las Vegas. And I love the album cover, dude. It looks like one of them church windows, but it's a poker card. Now, obviously, it's they a lot of good songs on here. Maybe A Price to Pay is a good one. Games People Play, obviously, is their most well-known song for the Parsons Project overall. Oh, and obviously my most favorite song for obvious reasons. And then we got the song Time, I Don't Want to Go Home. And then we obviously got an instrumental called The Gold Bug. And then the final song is a 16 and a half minute track just simply titled The Turn of a Friendly Card. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got a 4.5 star rating and it's great. Um, Alan Parsons, dude, you fucking know that he knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
And we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah. And from the music of his you've showed me so far, I do really like it.
Right? I really do love it, man.
I really liked, I know you showed me a Tales of Mystery and Imagination. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And I do want to do an album review of that when we have time. So,
Yeah, totally.
like down the like somewhere down the road, I don't know when, but I know we'll be planning to do that. Your turn, boy.
All right, my next one is I can't find a lot of info on this album. It's called Blow by my favorite saxophonist who is alive these days, Donnie McCaslin. Such great
alive
saxophonist.
these days, you said. Was he actually dead on some days?
Yeah, he used to be dead, but he came back to life.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
got you.
No, it was released in 2018. I listened to this album a lot when I was in college. Uh, it's got him and his main band. It's a really good band. Not much to say. It's a really good album. Let me pull up
Yeah.
a list of songs on it. One second. There we go. It's got What About the Body, Club Kid, Break the Bond, New Kindness, uh, exactly 4 minutes of improvised music, Tiny Kingdom, Great Destroyer. It's got a song called The Opener, which features Sun Kill Moon, Beast, Tempest, and Eye of the Beholder.
Hell yeah, dude. And obviously, you even said that like earlier that he contributed to David Bowie's Blackstar, was it again? Or
Yep. He
and
played the saxophone on his album Black Star.
that's gotta be like your ultimate dream right there, having two favorites like collab together or work together and all that.
Yeah. No, that usually he makes just plain old jazz music, but that was his first like more kind of like it's kind of like poppy, more accessible, less jazzy music.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. He's a great saxophone player. Look him up. Listen to Blow. Listen to Up Beyond Now. It's more of a jazz album, but I still like it. I like his jazz music too. He's a really good
Yeah.
musician.
Hey, Aegis,
Yeah.
blow me.
I don't have it on CD. I can't give it to you.
Yeah, good response right there.
Yeah.
All right. So, is that all you gotta say?
On to you. Yeah,
All
on to you.
right. Oh my God, dude. Bruh. Okay, so my next three choices are gonna be all Pink Floyd albums, because I could not, for the life of me, take one of these three off here. But my first one is obviously, in my opinion, my most favorite Pink Floyd album, and they're most underappreciated. And I'm talking, of course, about Animals from 1977. It is a concept album that talked about the stories of modern society being in decay and capitalism is to blame. And Roger Waters, one of the all-time greatest songwriters in my opinion, he is ended up taking themes from a 1945 book, Animal Farm, to make this album. And
Yeah,
obviously,
but George Orwell. He got that one on my shelf.
no, I've been thinking about getting that book at one point, and Fear and
You can
Loathing in
borrow
Las
mine if you want to
Vegas.
read it. It's really good.
Yeah, obviously I got it right here, ladies and gentlemen. And oh my God, dude, like just look at like the overall just look at the skyline, dude. Like it looks so dystopian like, and then obviously it has the backside. And to give you an idea of how much I love this album, I got the fucking entire image of that as my background right here on this computer that I'm looking at right now.
Hmm.
So this album, like I said, they were just for some reason when I first heard this album or even knew what this album was, I thought they had recorded the album itself inside Battersea Power Station, which is the building right there. And it shows an inflatable pig floating between two chimneys. And I don't think I told you a story of how that album cover came to be, right?
I don't remember if you have or not. I don't think you did.
Okay, so They end up buying this giant inflatable pig that they were going to use for their tour, and they were trying to it took them 3 days to get the shot here, but what happened was is that the first day the pig would not inflate for some reason, and they had already hired a marksman to shoot it down in case if it broke free. The second day they were able to get it inflated, but they were not able to hire the marksman, and the pig actually broke free and caused
Mhm.
a lot of planes in fucking Great Britain to actually be grounded for the day. And this gave the band great publicity, and Roger Waters even said, shit, I didn't even have to try anything hard for publicity. And then the third day, it went great. They hired two marksmen, but the problem was the skyline was not what they wanted it to be. So they ended up just taking the pictures anyway, and they took that pig and then they just cropped it onto the pictures they took from the first day, which is what they wanted to do. Storm Thorgerson, who actually put together this whole entire thing for the album cover, that was what he wanted to do the whole time, but Roger Waters wanted it to be look real. And they ended up getting some like promotional footage or whatever for videos to promote their album. So there's obviously only 5 songs that are on here. This album got a 4-star rating, and Animals is considered among the big 4 for Pink Floyd albums in that time, which includes Wish You Were Here, which I did not include. My next 2 albums will be my next 2 entries, but it consists of 3 main tracks or 5 overall tracks. One of them is a 2-parter, obviously, for beginning to ending tracks. Actually, they basically took 3 different animals and they decided to classify them as like the different levels of like the society and whatnot for people. The dogs are supposed to represent the industrialist, business-minded overachievers or the enforcers. The pigs, 3 different ones are supposed to be the corrupt benefactors, politicians, and millionaires who end up funding their rise about it. And the sheep
Yeah, and then
are,
in the book Animal Farm, the pigs represented the Communist Party.
yeah, that's what I've heard about too, is that it also represents the Communist Party too.
Yep.
But I didn't hear anything about that in the song, so, but I could
Yeah, it
see,
looks like Animal Farm was about communism, whereas this is more about capitalism.
yeah. And and we all know that this album, where UK was in such a huge uproar because they were dealing with, it was like America, it was like the British equivalent of America's turmoil in 1968 because they were dealing with that much stuff. Even Pigs, 3 different ones, they said that they made a reference to Margaret Thatcher, who they did not trust at all, too. And okay, and then finally, sheep is supposed to be the common folk, the followers who are us. And finally, the last track, Pigs on the Wind, was actually a love letter that Roger Waters made for his then wife. And all the songs were written by Roger Waters, with the exception of Dogs, which was co-written by both Waters and the lead guitarist David Gilmour. I love this whole album. Dogs, in my opinion, is my most favorite one. And around the 5-minute mark, it probably has my most favorite acoustic guitar solo. Everyone did such a great job, like Nick Mason's drumming, and he had the cowbell for Pigs, 3 different ones. And just the effects they did, and not to mention Richard Wright with his fucking piano playing, dude, or the keyboard playing, dude. And you could hear like probably the majority of his keyboarding on fucking Dogs. It's such a great album, dude.
Okay.
So amazing. Your turn.
All right, this next one is I had to choose one album by Porcupine Tree. I chose In Absentia. I think is their best album so far. It is their first album that went in the direction of like progressive rock and progressive metal. And this is one of my favorite album covers of all time. We did that video pretty like a month or two ago.
Yeah. And I even said to you, or I can't remember if I said it to you, but the album cover almost looks like it was fucking. It almost felt like if I was like a promo thing for fucking 28 Days Later.
Hmm.
I don't know why, it just is.
Yeah, while not a formal concept album, many of the songs still have common themes related to serial killers, youthful innocence gone wrong, and criticism of the modern world.
Oh, okay.
Wilson said of the title, it's related to some of the lyrics. It's about people on the fringes, on the edges of humanity and society. I have an interest in serial killers, child molesters, and wife beaters. Not in what they did, but in the psychology of why. What
Yeah, the
caused them
why
to
aspect
become,
of it. So,
yeah, yeah, what caused them to be unhinged and twisted? Why are they unable to empathize? In absentia is sort of a metaphor. There's something missing, a black hole, a cancer in their soul. It is an absence in their soul. Yeah, the title evokes the same theme, with the phrase being Latin for in absence or in one's absence, a term often used in relation to criminal proceedings that occur despite the absence of the defendant.
yeah.
And yeah, the leader, of course, is the main leader, the mastermind between Porcupine Tree, Stephen Wilson, who is a musical genius, if you ask me.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. No fucking doubt about it. Now, obviously, you've played Porcupine Tree for me a few times, and I think I have played a couple of their songs on my radio shows at one point, but they do
Yeah.
have some good stuff, you know. I don't know what it is for me, honestly, dude. Like, when it comes to my progressive stuff, I just love listening to more of like the pioneering guys. Like, I really got to get more into some of these other groups that you were telling me about.
Yeah, I've heard Porcupine described as the most influential artist you have never heard of.
That almost sounds appropriate, man, because I've never even heard of these guys until you showed them to me.
All right, on to you.
All right, this next one here. Ah, 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 ah. We already did a album review of this album, but obviously I just don't know how to describe it or whatever. My next one is the one album that kickstarted the Big Four, Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon from 1973. And I already showed you this here, but I'm going to show it again for the fun of it. Here is my beautiful vinyl right here. I mean, dude, we we've already spoken about this on one of our earlier podcasts, dude. But oh my god, I fucking love this album. So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, the album cover is one of the most defining ever, and I've mentioned this as one of my all-time favorite album covers. It is a concept album that focuses on the pressures of life that everyone faces and the pressures that they were facing too at that time. It also focused on bringing up some references to like the mental health decline of Sid Barrett, who ended up leaving the group 5 years earlier, and Pink Floyd was still trying to find their identity. And this right here is what they needed. And this album made them a global phenomenon, dude. Like, I love the overall sound of the album. It is a great album to listen to when you're high. Just take either a couple edibles or smoke a joint, sit back and just tune out. We've already talked about like the themes of this here on my podcast that we did for the album covers, or our podcast, I meant to say. But
Didn't
I
we
will,
also review a fucking Dark Side of the Moon?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
So if you want more info on it, watch that video. It's a good video.
yeah. Here is the whole track listing, so I'll just give you a quick synopsis of it. Speak to Me, I said, is about life itself because the heartbeat, which means birth. Breathe in the Air is about like just relax and all that. On the Run, I say, or yeah, Breathe in the Air is about pressure, in my opinion. On the Run is about desperation, trying to run for something that you know you're never gonna get. The Plane Crash, I feel, means you're too late. It's too late. You cannot get it back. Time was basically about age, and we're getting older. Time is going way fast. The Great Gig in the Sky for me is about religion. Legend because of just Claire Torrey's vocals on here. She was one of the singers on Alan Parsons' Project 79 album Eve. So she and Alan Parsons, who is the engineer for this album, have already worked together because this. Money is about greed and excess. Us and Them is about conflict and war. And I said this is one of my most favorite songs overall. Any Color You Like, for some reason, I can't think of it as like romance because it just sounds like a song you would
Hmm.
fuck to, like raw and hard, people. Nah, trust me, I would know. But anyway, Brain Damage is about insanity itself. The lunatic, the lunatic keeps coming up. Eclipse, I believe, is about death because all that you love, all that you hate,
Hmm.
all this, all that is about. It's like your life is flashing before your eyes just as you're dying. Overall, I said this before and I'll say it again. Alan Parsons did receive a Grammy nomination and he fucking got robbed. It was probably one of the greatest Grammy robberies of all time and the most infamous robbery prior to when we talked about the Grammy Awards for our first podcast where Beyonce fucking robbed Post Malone, Eminem got robbed and all that. Blah, blah, blah. Such a beautiful masterpiece. I love it. This, in my opinion, is Pink Floyd's magnum opus. And Aegis and I already talked about this. And the next entry that I will have, which we will get to, is Roger Waters' magnum opus. But before we do that, Aegis, you go.
All right, my boss Jesse got me into this band. It's called Sleep Token. A lot of people on Reddit hate on Sleep Token, but the music is actually pretty good. I particularly liked their first album, Sundowning. It was their debut album. It's classified as like alternative rock, post metal, post rock, and progressive metal. So yeah, the personnel, the leads, they're completely anonymous. The band always wear masks when they perform.
Oh, yeah.
And the lead singer, the leader of the band, who does vocals, guitar, keyboard, piano, he just calls himself Vessel. Calls himself Vessel. Then all the other members are just numbers like two, three, four.
Yeah. Like, that's all it
No, they're,
was.
huh?
That's just it. One, two, three, four.
Yeah, they just were numbers. One was named two, one was named three, one was named four.
Wow. I have never in my life heard that. I never had. So,
Yeah, there's not much to say about it. It's a very interesting album. It's got a the songs are The Night Does Not Belong to God, The Offering, Levitate, Dark Signs, Higher, Take Aim, Give, Gods, Sugar, Say That You Will, Drag Me Under, and Bloodsport.
okay.
All right, yeah, on to you.
All right. This, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, is Roger Waters' magnum opus. And I'm, of course, talking about Pink Floyd's 1979 album, The Wall. Now, well, we obviously, Aegis and I still continue to argue about it and whatnot because, like, he says this is Pink Floyd's greatest work right here, but I said this is Roger Waters' greatest work, you know? But yeah, it is such a influential rock opera right here. It is pretty much I'll just give you a quick synopsis. It's about a rock star named Pink who is based off the likes of Roger Waters and co-founder Syd Barrett. And I don't want to give too much away, but what is there to say about this album, man? It is a album that still inspires to this day. It has 5 stars overall, just like Dark Side of the Moon. They James Guthrie, who is the engineer, won a Grammy for Best Engineered Recording in 1980, and this album was actually nominated for Album of the Year at that same Grammy Awards. I want to see who can't remember. It is considered at it is at number 129 for the overall greatest albums ever. because like I said, Dark Side of the Moon's at number 55. I've and this album, such a it has probably some of the most sinister sounds ever. Because remember, dude, we've listened to this, dude, and this is such a great masterpiece here. Obviously, the most unique thing about this album is when you listen to the ending track, Outside the Wall, they cut off to where Roger Waters says, "Isn't this where?" Cuts out. And then when you listen to track 1, where we came in, and so he intended it to be a never-ending cycle. And obviously, we all know all the greatest songs that are on here, man. Like, we have The Happiest Days of Our Lives, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, which is Pink Floyd's biggest song ever, in my opinion. Mother's a great song. My most favorite song here, Goodbye Blue Sky. Very harrowing, to say the least. Empty Spaces, Young Lust. Empty Spaces was supposed to be actually called What Shall We Do Now? Now, but that was a song that got cut so they could fit everything. Then we have Hey You, obviously, is another good one. Comfortably Numb's another great piece of work. In the Flesh, which is probably the most racist ass songs on there. Like, this is the second In the Flesh, because there's 2 of them called that. Like, they say, are there any cues in the theater tonight? Put them up against the wall. That one don't look right to me. Put them up against the wall. This one looks J, as I'll say. And obviously, yeah. I love how the music sounded, dude, but if I would have tried playing this song in particular on my radio show, that would be the end of me and of KXC as we know it. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
probably one of the most, in my opinion, offensive songs ever in my life that I've heard in my life. And then we obviously got Run Like Hell, Waiting for the Worms, and then obviously the most operatic song on here, The Trial, is obviously another good one. But dude, the works that the Roger Waters put. This is probably the one album where he put his whole heart and soul into it. And it paid off, but at the end of the day, it was the beginning of the end for Pink Floyd, in my opinion, because Richard Wright, as we all know, he got let go halfway when they were finishing up the album, and that was the last time all 4 of them would ever be on an album together. So, and then you got the likes of James Guthrie, who did such a great work on it. Bob Ezrin, who is a great producer and worked with the likes of Lou Reed, Alice Cooper, Aerosmith, Kiss, Peter Gabriel. And then you got Michael Kamen, who came in to do some of the works there. Like, he is a great orchestral conductor, man. He does great work with it. Like, and then don't forget Gerald Scarfe, who made the artwork for it. Overall, it is probably one of the best albums out there. All right, man, on to you.
All right, my next one is Memorial by a band called Soen. They're a Swedish progressive metal band. Uh, uh, it's their best album so far. It's got, I can't find a lot of info on it because it's a very niche band.
Oh yeah.
It's got the tracks are Sincere, Unbreakable, Violence, Fortress, Hallowed, Memorial, Incendiary, Tragedian, I think it's pronounced,
How
or
the hell does
Tragedian.
how the hell? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and Icon and Vitals.
Nice.
Yeah, the band Soen is mostly inspired by Tool, but if you ask me, they're better than Tool. I'd rather listen to this than listen to anything by Tool.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got to say about it. On to you.
All right.
Oh, we're taking a break, aren't we?
Yeah, dude. We already talked about the next 20 albums, man. I gotta give my throat a bit of an break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoying what we are doing so far here. And right before we get to our last 20 albums, we are going to take a short break on it. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Smoke them if you got them, drink them if you got them, masturbate if you have to. I don't fucking care. Or just go do a
Yeah,
break or
masturbate
whatever
if
kind
you
of thing.
got him.
Huh?
Masturbate if you got him.
I don't think it works that way. But all right, we'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Roger Radio Show. We are still here, alive and kicking. Obviously, Bernie looks like he's not doing too well, so we'll just have to get ready to make a eulogy at one point. All right, so we are in the final stretch, ladies and gentlemen. We got 20 more albums to do, and then we are going to conclude this. Now, this next one that I've chosen is, in my opinion, Prince's greatest work right here. And I am, of course, talking about his 1984 album, Purple Rain. It is also considered a soundtrack album because of his movie, Purple Rain. You know what the funny story about that movie is? Is that my friend Jim, who was going to school at the University of Minnesota, said that there was one day that Prince actually went to knock on the doors of all the women that were living in his dorms and inviting them to come be extras in the Purple Rain movie when he did his live sets at First Avenue, which was where the majority of it was recorded at, and it was pretty unique, to have something like that happen. There was one guy who I met who was a huge KXE fan of my radio station, and he said that he went to school with the keyboardist and the drummer from Prince's band. This album is ranked at number 8 on the all-time greatest albums list, and there's a reason why it deserves it. I mean, it's got 5-star ratings. It's like one of them power ballad albums kind of thing, It has a lot of good stuff. Pop, rock, R&B, funk pop, psychedelia. Prince and the Revolution won Grammy Awards for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal and Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media, while Prince also won an Academy Award for Best Original Song Score for the film Purple Rain. And this album was a whole experimentation in its own right at that time. But because of its very suggestive lyrics on here that were considered dangerous, this was considered, I think, among the first albums to have a parental advisory warning label put on the album. I mean, there's so many good songs here, dude. We got Let's Go Crazy, which is a great one. We have, hang on. Take Me With You is another favorite of mine. Darling Nikki, which was the main reason why it got the parental warning label. Another good song, When Doves Cry, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and then obviously Prince's biggest anthem right here, and for Minnesotans in general, Purple Rain. It is such a great song, but in my opinion, the ending is way too long. Way too long, in my opinion. But it is what it is. It's a great album, man. Your turn.
All right, this next one is an rock opera. It's called Snow. It's by Spock's Beard. And as far as rock operas go, lyrically and story-wise, I think this is the best.
Yeah.
It has such a very interesting storyline. Uh, Snow tells the story of a young albino man named Jon Snow who possesses extraordinary spiritual and prophetic abilities. He grows up as an outcast, but eventually embarks on a journey of self-discovery, gaining a following due to his wisdom and charisma. However, as he becomes more famous and influential, he struggles with the corrupting nature of power, as well as betrayal and personal crises. Throughout the album, Snow experiences both triumphs and setbacks, eventually realizing that his purpose is not to seek external validation, but to embrace his true self. The story explores themes of redemption, self acceptance, and spiritual awakening, which became a hallmark of Neil Morris's songwriting.
Yeah. That
All
does sound
Music
like
gave
a good
it,
storyline right there.
oh yeah. All Music gave it 3 stars, Rock Hard gave it a 9 out of 10, and then Sea of Tranquility gave it 5 stars.
Okay. I know that it almost reminds me of like, okay, I don't know if you knew this, but Genesis made a rock opera of their own, and the storytelling almost reminds me of their rock opera that they made. It's like the lamb that's walking down Broadway or whatever it is, and it was the
Yeah.
last album to include their original lead singer, Peter Gabriel. And of course, dude, your main guy Brian Eno was on there too. There was even a picture that I
Yeah.
found of him where he was doing a live performance with Genesis, and he looked like he was at a drag show or whatever. I don't know why, dude. Dude, I'll have to find that picture and send it to you, man. So,
All right. Yeah,
alrighty,
that's all I got to say about that album. So on to you.
alrighty. This next one here is obviously comes as no surprise, and we've did an album review of this one. Radiohead's 1997 album, OK Computer. Now, we've obviously have already spoken a whole lot in our podcast episode that we did for OK Computer here, so I'll just give you a much more shorter version. It's a depicting a dystopian future fraught with rampant consumerism, capitalism, social alienation, and political malaise. And so this was the album that helped us prepare for the 21st century, is basically what this album does. As it was produced, of course, by Nigel Godrich, who was the sixth man, you know, and obviously, what is there to say about this album? It has a lot of people want to compare this to Dark Side of the Moon, but I compare it more to The Wall because of its more sinister sound. All the tracks were obviously a collaboration between all five members, but Tom York really came out strong with his lyricism for this, in my opinion. It starts, yeah, it pretty much starts with Airbag, which is time about a near-death experience from a car crash. Paranoid Android is obviously the equivalent of Bohemian Rhapsody. Subterranean Homesick Aliens, like, please take me away. I don't want to fucking be here anymore. Exit Music was a song that they contributed for Romeo plus Juliet, but was kept off the soundtrack for it, but was included in the movie. Letdown, I can't fucking remember anymore. Karma Police, is about like fucking the insanity and dissatisfaction with capitalism. Fitter Happier is basically a voice text to speech modulator that's taken over man. Electioneering's talking about corrupt fucking people paying off whoever to become presidents like Donald Trump. Climbing Up the Walls, my most favorite song, I can't remember. No Surprises, like, please, no more surprises. I don't fucking want it anymore. Lucky is just a great song that I can't remember what it's about. And The Tourist, another good song I can't remember. But yeah, it's a great album. I can't remember if it has 5 stars overall. I can't remember. It is listed at number 42 on the Rolling Stones all-time greatest albums list, but in my opinion, it should be at number 20, and they moved Kid A to number 42. I'm trying to think. I think it did win some Grammys, but I can't remember where the fuck. Here we go. It was nominated for Album of the Year and won Best Alternative Music Album at the 98 Grammys. And it was also nominated for Best British Album at the 1998 Brit Awards. And this album was taking everyone away from the Britpop movement, which Oasis did, obviously.
Mhm.
And it's just a great masterpiece. I recommend it if you haven't listened to it, people. I'm just saying.
It is a really good album. I liked it too, and that's saying something.
Yeah. All right, dude, go ahead.
All right, my next one is Toxicity by System of a Down. I'm very nostalgic for System of a Down as the first band that really got me into music, you know.
Right. Right. Pretty much for a
There's
whole lot of people. I fucking love this album too, man.
Yeah, it's generally their most popular album. Personally, I actually like Hypnotize and Mesmerize more, but I consider those two just one album in two halves. But I decided I'd go with Toxicity since I couldn't choose both of those.
Yeah.
It's categorized primarily as alternative metal and new metal. The album features elements of multiple genres, including folk, progressive rock, jazz, Armenian, and Greek music, including prominent use of instruments such as the sitar, banjo, keyboards, and piano. It
Yeah.
contains a wide array of political and non-political themes, such as mass incarceration, the CIA, the environment, police brutality, drug addiction, scientific reductionism, and groupies.
Nah. I think this was an album that was supposed to be released on September 11th, if I can remember correctly, too.
It was released September 4th, 2001.
Okay, yeah. That's what I meant to say was that this was an album that a lot of people say apparently ended up predicting 9/11, but I think it was just a mere coincidence. I know we
Yeah.
are planning to do something involving that in the future time about albums that predicted it. So,
Yeah, it's got Prison Song, Needles, which I really like Needles. There's this line in Needles where he just keeps saying, pull the tapeworm out of your ass, pull the tapeworm out of your ass. I think that's funny.
no,
It's
dude,
about drug addiction, actually.
my alarm that I use for my alarm clock. Wake up! Wake up! No, 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 no,
That
no.
was a little makeup. Had this guy's faded with the shake up. Hmm. And yeah,
All
Deer
right.
Dance, Jet Pilot X, Chop Suey, Bounced Forest, ATWA, Science Shimmy, Toxicity, Psycho, and Aerials. And then there's an instrumental song called Arto featuring Arto. I don't know how the fuck to even pronounce that last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. Go on to you.
Alrighty. Okay, so for my next entry, I've chosen Rage Against the Machine's 1992 self-titled debut. This is a album that really revolutionized the music industry because of Zach De La Rocha's political views and his philanthropy stuff that he does.
Yeah.
It's obviously gotten 4 to 4.5 stars, but it is listed at number 221 on Rolling Stone's top greatest albums of all time list, and it's considered among the 100 greatest metal albums of all time. This whole album here was just the perfect niche, You had the likes of Bomb Track, which is a great opener. You have Killing in the Name, which was a politically song protesting the brutality, the police brutality, and the cops getting away with it, kind of thing. Um, Take the Power Back was a song that I wanted to play on one of my radio shows, but it was during that time when there was the protesting the No Kings Allowed rally thing going on, so I wanted to
Mm.
do this song for that. But the problem was that same day was when we had those political assassinations here in Minnesota.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so if I would have played this song, dude, I would have gotten
Mhm.
into a whole lot of trouble.
Oh yeah.
Next song, A Bullet in the Head, is another great one. Um, it just believes it's just one of those other protest songs that I love. Uh, Freedom's another great song, just another masterpiece here. Yeah, but yeah, what is there to say about it? The album cover itself, dude, probably one of the most graphic album cover pictures I ever seen in my life.
Was
Because that
that the
was,
one with the guy lighting himself on fire to
yep, the
protest?
self-immolation of Thick Quang Duke in June 1963 in resistance to South Vietnam's persecution of Buddhists. And this photo won the Pulitzer Prize.
Damn.
Yep. So, I mean, the album cover says it all. Such a masterpiece, without a doubt. All right, dude, you're next.
All right. My next one is Remain in Light by the Talking Heads. Shout out to my sister Marmar. She really likes the Talking Heads and Ween.
And it was produced by?
Brian Eno. Yeah, one of my favorite things about this album as a music theory nerd, uh, the fucking African polyrhythms that they use.
Yeah.
Fucking great. I love it.
Yeah, and it is even considered one of the all-time greatest albums too. Oh, I can't remember where it's listed at, but it's like listed way high up there.
Yeah, it is definitely the Talking Heads' best album, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Love the music, love the lyrics, love everything about it. It's got an interesting album cover too.
Yeah, it's like all four of them, but their faces are kind of censored.
Yeah, yeah, it's got a Born Under Punches, Cross-Eyed and Painless, The Great Curve, Once in a Lifetime, Houses in Motion, Seen and Not Seen, Listening Wind, and The Overload. Then I got the 2006 reissue bonus track, which also, well, I had the 2006 reissue, which came with four bonus tracks: Fella's Riff, Unison, Double Groove, and Right Start.
Yeah. It
Great album. We're gonna be reviewing it this year
Yeah,
because it's gonna in
I
our
know that we are gonna review it when its anniversary comes up,
yeah
which I think
October.
will
It was
be in
released
October.
October 8th. Yeah, October 8th, 1980. So it'll be his 45-year anniversary.
Yeah, I know there's that one, and then I also wanted to also review Oasis's "What's the Story, Morning Glory" because it'll be their 30-year anniversary that same month.
Okay.
But so it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have fun with that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's all I got to say about Remain in Light. On to you.
All right, this next one here, uh, REO Speedwagon's "You Can Tune a Piano, but You Can't Tune a Fish" from 1978, and we've obviously I do want to do a review of this album. This here's my dad's original pressing right here. Here, obviously, it is open, so it just shows like pretty much a image of like the whole band together with their official logo and whatnot. Not and then lyric stuff's on here, and then yeah, it's one of those vinyls that I do intend to get a frame for it so I can hang it up, dude. But this here is a pretty much a good. I think it's their most underappreciated album in my opinion, but no, it is. I love the music that's on it, man, and I love the album cover. The album cover like almost feels perfect for us because we're in northern Minnesota and we take pride in our fucking fishing here.
Hmm.
Here, even a lot of people say that it's the name of the title is considered one of the worst ever. Who the fuck comes says this stuff, man? Come on. most of the I do love all of the music, but let me put it to you this way. Roll with the Changes, probably their greatest song in my opinion, and it's even listed at number 3 on my all-time favorite songs list. Time for Me to Fly is another great banger that you will also hear on classic rock radio. Blazing Your Own Trail again's another great masterpiece that I love. And of course, probably one of my favorite instrumentals, and this will be the inspiration for a song that Aegis will make for me for the music, for the videos that I want to do if he ever fucking gets around to it. It'll be called the song is for REO. It's called The Unidentified Flying Tuna Trot, and I'm trying to get him to do a fucking tune for me. It'll be called The Unidentified Roger Radio Alien Abduction. But yeah, this album overall, like a lot of people say that, yeah, this is an underappreciated album, and it's one of their most underappreciated, in my opinion. I love the album. I really love the sound of it. All right, on to you, man.
All right, my next one is Flood by a band I grew up listening to called They Might Be Giants. Is considered alternative rock. It was released January 15th, 1990, and it's got some really good music. It's let's see. Uh Track listing. You got Theme from Flood, Birdhouse in Your Soul, Lucky Ball and Chain, Istanbul, not Constantinople,
Yeah.
Dead, Your Racist Friend, Particle Man, Twisting, We Want to Rock, Someone Keeps Moving My Chair, Hearing Aid, Minimum Wage, Letterbox, Whistling in the Dark, Hot Cha, Women and Men, Sapphire Bolts of Pure Love, They Might Be Giants, and Road Movie to Berlin. If you haven't listened to Flood by They Might Be Giants, listen to it. It's really fun. Their songs, the lyrics to their songs are very weird, which I love. Like
Right?
the song Minimum Wage. All the only lyrics in it is minimum wage. Yeah. I know it's a fun album. Give it a listen. It's their best album that they ever made. It's the
Right?
only album by They Might Be Giants that I actually listen to. All right,
Hell
on to
yeah,
you.
man. All right. This next one here is called World on Fire by Slash from 2014. This was a collaboration album that he did with Miles Kennedy of Alter Bridge and Kennedy's side project called Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. This was an album that was one of the main anthems when I started college at Itasca Community College that same year, 2014-15. And obviously, it's a great piece of work. Like Slash can still do it. Not this guy that we're talking to, who's up here with me
Yeah.
right now. Obviously, yeah, it's a different Slash. But it's a. I believe it is a great piece of work right here, in my opinion. Like Slash can still kill it on the guitars, man. This album, it's a like it has an average 3-star rating on here, but like I feel it was pretty good stuff here. World on Fire is one of my favorite songs from them. Wicked Stone's another great piece. Too Far Gone, Withered Delilah, Avalon. The list goes on and on. It's amazing. So I would recommend it if you haven't listened to it. You can go.
All right, my next one is Ziltoid the Omniscient by Canadian metal musician Devin Townsend. It's a progressive metal slash avant-garde metal album. I mean,
Hmm.
the album is a rock opera about an extraterrestrial being named Ziltoid from the planet Ziltodia 9. Ziltoid travels to Earth in search of your universe's ultimate cup of coffee. When a cup of coffee is delivered to him, he's appalled by its taste. declaring it fetid, and summons the Aziltoidian warlords to attack Earth, facing the full might of Earth's army. Townsend describes the album as a mix between Strapping Young Lad and the Devin Townsend Band, with a story like that of Punky Brewster's Cooked on Phonics.
Oh
And it
yeah.
was a solo album too, with all music written, mixed, produced, and performed by Townsend. All drum tracks were produced with Easy Drummer, a software drum machine using the drum kit from Hell expansion.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. It's a good album. It's fun. It's funny.
Yeah, the even the album cover, dude, it almost looks like you're reading one of them comic strips too when I looked at the album
Yeah,
cover.
yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. Alrighty, so my next choice, Stain's a 2001 album, Break the Cycle. Now, this was another album that came in the new metal and post grunge era, and this, in my opinion, Stain's greatest work right here. The album cover, like, says it all. I love that album cover, you know? It almost, I mean, some reason, doesn't it feel like you're under a tornado warning if you look at that?
Let me see. Break the Cycle by Stained.
Yep,
Let me look it up.
Staind.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the album cover almost makes it look like it's from a Harry Potter book, and
Hmm.
it looks like there's like rain or whatever because of how it looks, and then the lightning in the background. It's like, oh, there's gotta be a tornado coming or whatever kind of thing, you know? But obviously, this was an album that got so much overplaying, you know? Even though this album got an average of 3 stars, dude, it's still great as hell, man. And obviously the lead vocalist Aaron Lewis, dude, he's amazing, dude. I like him. I mean, this band, dude, is really amazing in my opinion. You know, I mean, it's one of those huge albums that came out in the early 21st century. You know, and it was just a great radio play right here. We got the likes of Open Your Eyes. We got Fade, their biggest hit. It's been a while, which everyone obviously fucking knows. We got For You, Outside. No, it's a great album. Even though it's really underappreciated, it just is. Like, I believe it's their best work, in my opinion. No, I don't have much more to say about it because I can't find much more, but it's a great album. It really is.
All right, on to me.
Yep.
All right, the next one is an album you probably wouldn't like. It's called Bish Bosh by Scott Walker. Scott Walker was originally part of a band called the Walker Brothers, and he wrote their four best songs. Let's see, it was Night Flights, Fat Mama Kick, I think it was called, The Electrician. Might have just been those three. I can't remember for sure. I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But then he became a solo musician. He made some like Baroque pop shit. And then he went down to the avant-garde and experimental music, which is where his talent really shined. And this, I think, was his best album before his death, was Bish Bosh. The
Yeah.
the term Bosch being a reference to the painter Hieronymus Bosch. And his very interesting music. It was part of what he considered kind of a trilogy that included his 1995 album Tilt, his 2006 album The Drift, and then this one, his 2012 album Bish Bosh, which included his longest song of all time, which was a song. It was 21 minute and 41 seconds called SDSS 1416 plus 13B, Zircon Flagpole Sitter, which might just be my favorite song that he ever wrote. His
Yeah.
lyricism is really interesting, very, very avant-garde. I love it. And yeah, let's see. It's got See You Don't Bump His Head, Core de Blah phrasing, the one I just said, Zircon Flagpole Sitter, Epizootics, Dimple, Tar, Pilgrim, and The Day the Conjugator Died, which is about the execution of uh, Nicolae Ceausescu, I think his name was.
Okay.
He was the dictator of, fuck, I can't remember where he was.
The
I
dictator
can't
of
remember where
fuck, I can't remember. I never heard of that place
yeah, well,
before.
he was a dictator and he was killed by firing squad. And the song keeps repeating, like, nobody waited for fire. Nobody waited for fire.
Okay,
Because
I
they just
got you.
shot his ass before anyone said to fire.
I
But no, Bish Bosh, if you like experimental and avant-garde music, highly recommend it. But is definitely not for everybody. Most of y'all are not going to like this. I'll be completely honest. But I
just
loved
love
it.
how you just flat out said that.
All right, on to you.
Alrighty, this next one here, Steely Dan's a magnum opus from 1977, Asia. And obviously, it is listed at number 77 on the greatest albums of all time list, obviously. And won Best Engineered Recording Non-Classical at the 1978 Grammys, and it was nominated for Album of the Year and Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. And for rightful reasons, dude, this was a great album right here, man. It's one of those albums, like, if you're just like having one of them boring days and just want something to, like, have a nice, cool morning to, then there you go. It is one of those, it's a jazz rock album, is what it's called, and it's also considered as yacht rock. And obviously, what can I say about it? The most of the songs, we all know that. Um, no, I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, we all know that just like with just like with the Alan Parsons Project, Steely Dan had two official members and a rotating cast. Um, we this album has only 7 songs: Black Cow, Asia, Deacon Blues, Peg, Home at Last, I Got the News, and Josie. Deacon Blues is probably their best song ever, and every time when I listen to it, I envision myself being back in either high school or college again. It's a Friday and we're up to no good and we're trying to evade the cops. That's what it sounds like to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you haven't listened to it, you gotta give it a listen. It's really awesome. It's a great overall album. Walter Becker and Donald Fagen, dude, probably the best duo for like anyone aside of like Alan Parsons and Eric Wolfson, dude. And Donald, both these guys are amazing as a team. All right, dude, you're next.
All right, my next one is Rain Dogs by Tom Waits. So Tom Waits was originally like a jazz musician, all right, making such songs as it's like The Piano Is Always Drinking, I think it was called. And my favorite of his jazz era is called A Christmas Card to a Hooker in Minneapolis.
Nice.
But starting with Swordfish Trombones is where he and his wife, Kathleen Brennan, started making more experimental and avant-garde kind of music. So it started with Swordfish Trombones was his first song like that. Then Rain Dogs, which is the one I'm talking about. And then Frank's Wild Years. Those are like a trilogy that people consider it.
Yeah.
This album, Rain Dogs, is experimental rock and Americana.
Yep,
And
and I know that Americana stuff all too well, man.
yep. So the songs are Singapore, Clap Hands, Cemetery Polka, Jockey Full of Bourbon, Tango Till They're Sore, Big Black Mariah, Diamonds and Gold, Hang Down Your Head, Time. How many fucking songs are there that are just called Time? Got to be a lot.
A fuck
Uh,
ton of them at least. His Dark Side of the Moon had a song called Time, and Turn of a Friendly Card had a song called Time.
David Bowie also had a song called Time from his 1973 album Aladdin Sane. All right, and then yeah,
I
the title
swear,
track
dude.
Rain Dogs.
I
Yeah, and the title
swear.
track Rain Dogs, Midtown, Ninth and Hennepin, Gun Street Girl, Union Square, Blind Love, Walking Spanish, Downtown Train, Bride of Rain Dog, and Anywhere I Lay My Head.
Nice.
It's a very interesting album, cool album cover. Uh, so the story behind, although it was remarked that the man on the cover bears a striking resemblance to Waits, the photograph was actually one of a series taken by the Swedish photographer Anders Peterson at Café Limits, I think it's pronounced, a cafe near the Hamburg Red Light Boulevard Reeperbahn in the late 1960s. The man and woman depicted on the cover are called Rose and Lily.
Yeah.
No, Rain Dogs is one of his best albums of all time. Not gonna lie. It's the album that got me into Tom Waits and is really good.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up. I mean,
And it
I
was made
can't.
in
Huh?
and if you want, do you want to do a review on this album in September? Because it was released September 30th, 1985.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
it'll be the
I think
40th
we did.
anniversary.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we did discuss that a while back that we were going to do it anyway. So, because I know in addition to that one, you wanted to review another one of King Crimson's albums. I can't remember which one it was. So I'll have to look at the itinerary. But yeah, we do have that planned. And if you want to wait till September to do it when it's their anniversary, that's fine with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I can't remember. I can't remember this album. I think is listed among the greatest albums of all time, also on Rolling Stone's list. But I can't remember
It
which.
probably is.
I can't remember where it's listed at for the number or whatnot. And I can't remember. Did you already say that Tom Waits worked with a lot of big names too?
No, he usually just works by himself with a small group of musicians.
Okay, I don't know why. For some reason, I thought there was like some big names that he worked with, but I could be wrong. So, ah, alrighty. So is it my turn now?
Yeah.
All right, this next one here, 3 Days Grace's 2006 album, 1X. It is oh, dude, it's just like with Break the Cycle by Stain, dude. It's like such a great album by such an underappreciated band, you know, this album here was the pinnacle of when I was starting high school. Because in at my old high school, we started in 7th grade back then, but now it's 6th grade that you start over at my old alma mater now. And this album here just gave was the right album that I needed to really kick it off. You know, had such great work here. I think, in my opinion, this is their magnum opus album. So much beautiful music here, dude. It's all over. We got Animal I Have Become, which is a great one there. Pain is another good one. Never this here, Never Too Late here. Let me tell you, this is probably their greatest song here, in my opinion, dude. I loved it. And then we got Riot, um, Over and Over. Oh man, dude, it's great. The album cover, it like has, you know, like how people make paper maches of like people holding hands and shit like that. That pretty much says it all. It has it. They all have check marks on them, but one of them has an X. But yeah, it's a great work, man. I loved it. I really love this album, man, and it was the part of the post grunge alternative metal alternative rock setting, you know. So, man, beautiful work here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful indeed. All right, dude, you can go.
All right. Another one my sister really likes. She really likes the band Ween. This isn't her favorite album by them, but it's my favorite album they did. It's called The Mollusk. It's their sixth album. Uh, it's a multi-genre concept album with a dark nautical theme with several songs incorporating elements from psychedelia and or sea shanties, which also feature a heavy progressive rock influence. Dean Ween has described the album as the only record that I ever felt really confident about and my favorite record we've ever done. Gene Ween has echoed this statement, saying the Mollusk is probably my favorite at the end of the day. It's considered an experimental rock album.
Okay.
And fun fact for you, where is it? Here. The Mollusk was a direct influence on the animated television series SpongeBob SquarePants. Steven Hillenburg, the show's creator, contacted the band shortly after the album's release, and he requested a song from them, which he later called Loop to Loop. The track Ocean Man is played during the end of the credits in SpongeBob SquarePants movie. So if we didn't have The Mollusk by Ween, we would not have SpongeBob.
Dude, that is fucking amazing. And dude, I wouldn't have this right now.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. And G might wouldn't have his fucking Doodle Bob wallet. So, dude, that is a fucking great story right there, dude. I really
Yeah.
gotta listen to them now. No, I should just be like, thank you. If you guys didn't do this, then I wouldn't have my fucking TV show, dude.
When was it released? It was released in 1997.
Okay, and SpongeBob premiered in it was July 1999. So yeah, it looks about right there.
All right, on to you.
Alrighty, now this one right here is a one of Roger Waters' solo albums and probably his most underappreciated album, 1987's Radio Chaos or K.A.O.S. Let me tell you something, people. If I ever started my own radio station, I would actually use those initials, K.A.O.S. This album here, it's it has a new wave electronic rock and art rock, and I love the new wave sound, and I actually love the sound of this album. This is a concept album about that include based on the key topical subjects that happened in the late 1980s, including monetarism and the effects on citizens, popular culture of the time, and the events and consequences of the Cold War. It also made criticisms of Margaret Thatcher's government, just like Pink Floyd's 1983 album, The Final Cut. This is like I said, it's not like a rock opera thing per se. Although it does have like a good story on it, the album follows Billy, a mentally and physically disabled man from Wales who was forced to live with his uncle David in Los Angeles after his brother Benny is sent to prison following an act intended to support striking coal miners, which results in the death of a taxi driver and his dismissal from his mining job due to market forces. The album explores Billy's view of the world through an on-air conversation between him and Jim, a disc jockey at a fictitious local radio station named Radio Chaos. And apparently during the whole story, it's Billy starts being able to like communicate with electronics or like technology, and he actually starts being able to like use his head or whatever to like make things do what they do.
Okay.
Oh, and it's an album that I strongly recommend. Roger Waters said like many years that he did not like the album because he felt he could have did more with it, and in retrospect I think he was kind of right, but I loved the album that came out.
Okay.
So most of my favorite songs on here, obviously Radio Waves, a great one. You hear like a Morse code thing at the beginning of it, of the album. And then Who Needs Information, Me or Him, The Powers That Be, Sunset Strip, Home, 4 Minutes, and The Tide is Turning after Live Aid. My most favorite song on here would probably be Who Needs Information. And you can hear some jazzy like influence on here because of saxophone being used on here. So the funny thing is for the vinyl, they just like with how Radiohead did the vinyls for OK Computer and naming it like Eeny Meeny Miny Mo. Well, this vinyl here had side 1 Chaos 1A and side 2 Chaos 1B. And apparently for the on Sunset Strip, they say 3 Barks and a radio broadcast start the song on this release for the vinyl release anyway. And this was at a time where we were transitioning now more from vinyls to doing CD format. And this album got a 4.5-star rating. I actually did like it. And like I said, Waters, he did express disappointment with how the album came out, saying that he wanted to do more to add to the story, but you know, things are how they came out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I recommend listening to it.
Okay. My next one is Apostrophe by Frank Zappa. It's the fifth solo album and 18th in total. That's including his band Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Released in March 1974 in both stereo and quadraphonic formats. An edited version of his lead-off track, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, was the first of Zappa's 3 Billboard Top 100 hits, ultimately peaking at number 86. The album itself became the biggest commercial success of Zappa's career, reaching number 10 on the US Billboard 200. It is
Nice.
jazz fusion and progressive rock.
Yeah, which seems about right for him. And and Frank Zappa is the guy who explores like a bunch of genres.
Yes, he's very experimental. He did a lot of very interesting things. No two songs sound like the other.
Right?
No, it starts off with the Don't Eat Yellow Snow suite, which has Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, Nanook Rubs It, St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, and Father Oblivion. Then it's got a song called Cosmic Debris, which, if I remember right, Zappa even said, I do not like this song. He did not like the song Cosmic Debris, which honestly, I kind of agree with him. I wasn't a big fan of it too, either.
Right?
Then Eccentrifical Force, Apostrophe, which is just the instrumental guitar solo. Uncle Remus, which is about a racist guy who sprays black people with a hose whenever they pass by his yard. And then Stinkfoot.
Wow.
He he made some very interesting music, and this album, he really shines on this album. It's a lot more accessible than a lot of his other work. So, if you've never listened to Frank Zappa, start with this album. It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
This and his album Freak Out are both good places to start.
All right. What about Joe's Garage? Is that another good one too?
Joe's Garage is a rock opera. It's really good. It's very dirty, very offensive. If you ask me, it's really good. But for
Just
fuck's
to,
sake, he was in blackface on the cover of the album.
just imagine if they would have had him write the music for Airplane for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That would that would probably be like the funniest shit that would have ever happened right there. Like,
Yeah.
oh man. All right, you good on that?
Yeah. Yeah, Andy. I'm going to use the bathroom quick. Keep talking. I can hear you.
All right. So we are in the final stretch here, ladies and gentlemen. For my last song or album, I meant to say. God damn it. I'm already getting tired as hell right now, people. So, okay. So for my last album here, I choose The Who's 1969 album, Tommy. The reason this album is so important is this was the album that ushered in the rock opera. This is the first official rock opera made. The Who had already made a song called A Quick One While He Was Away, but that's considered a mini opera because it was only one song. But how about taking a rock opera and make it into a whole album? Tommy tells the story is a double album that tells the story of Tommy Walker and his path to becoming a spiritual leader and messianic figure or whatever the fuck it is. Pete Townsend wrote the whole entire thing. This was let me see here. This album has 4.5 star rating, and it is considered one of the greatest albums of all time because, like I said, I mean, this album it came out like it helped to usher in the rock opera. Let me see here. It's listed at number 190 on Rolling Stone's top greatest albums of all time. Like I said, it tells the story of Tommy Walker, who is who cannot speak, who cannot see, who cannot hear, and he ends up becoming a spiritual leader at one point. The story itself is amazing. I loved it right here. Um, so no, just like with The Wall, Tommy had a movie also, and Roger Daltrey played as Tommy himself on there, and then you had Keith Moon, the fucking loon himself, playing as Uncle Ernie, and it's an insane trip here. I strongly recommend the album. I know later down the road we will do an album review of this because this is such a great album. I loved the story that they did on here, and yeah, it's amazing. I think, in my opinion, this is Pete Townshend's best work here for like the songwriting. Hey, but this album, there is a reason why this album was important. All right, dude, you're up.
All right, my last one is it's an album called Leather by Frank Zappa. It was released posthumously as a 3 CD set on Rykodisc in 1996. The album title is derived from bits of comic dialogue that link the songs. Zappa also explained that the name is a joke based on common bastardized pronunciations of German syllables by the Swiss.
Yeah.
All right, most of the material on Leather would be released during 1978 and 1979 on the albums Zappa in New York, Studio Tan, Sleep Dirt, and Orchestral Favorites. In an October 1978 radio interview, Zappa identified these four individual titles as the ones he previously delivered to Warner and added Leather was made out of four albums. Warner's has released two of them already, and they have got two more that they're probably going to release.
Okay.
Let's see. Zappa attempted to get Leather released in the 4 LP box configuration as the first release on the Zappa Records label. He briefly negotiated distribution with Capital EMI and then Phonograph Inc. and the Phonogram test pressing stage, official documentation for the text, test, blah, blah, blah. By this point, Zappa had denied a music copyright license to Warner and then
Ha.
to reproduce the songs. So
Yeah.
basically, he was trying to release it as this full 4 disc set Leather, but they forced him to spread it into 4 different albums. But after he died, they put them all together as it was intended and released it as Leather. And it
Yeah.
is his best work. His best work is very Zappa, is very funny, it's very offensive. That is very it's got some complicated composition, which I really like. And I
Yeah.
love everything about that album.
Hell yeah, man. Is that all you? Is that all? Or
Yeah, that's all on that one.
all right. Finally, people, we have made it. We have covered all 30 of our albums, and I am impressed with what I've chosen for my albums. Like a lot of them, a lot of the choices that I've picked are often considered one of the all among some of the greatest albums of all time, and rightfully so. Oh, there is a reason why they are listed as the greatest albums ever, and reason why it's considered albums you must listen to before you die.
I do have one thing I wanted to add before we leave.
Yeah.
I very recently got into this band called Mr. Bungle. If I had known about this when I was creating this list, I would have incorporated either his self-titled album Mr. Bungle or his album California.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that there
But
was
I
some.
just figured out about Mr. Bungle, so I didn't have a chance to put it in this video.
Yeah. And even then, like there were a couple that I chose that I wanted to put on here, like such as Tales of Mystery and Imagination by the Alan Parsons Project, but I just couldn't love it as fully as I did with Turn of a Friendly Card, and um, obviously it's there were some changes that I was considering, but I just decided not to. Like for example, Rage Against the Machine, I liked their debut a whole lot more, and I liked the
Excuse me.
Battle of Los Angeles, but the Battle of Los Angeles I just couldn't love as fully. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm happy with the list that I picked right here, and no, I recommend listening to all my albums. You got anything you want to say about your list?
No, no, I got nothing else to say.
All right.
Just want to give a mention to Mr. Bungle because he's got really good music. He's an avant-garde metal musician. Well, avant-garde metal band, I should say.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna try and include all the links to all the albums in the description below, but I don't know how much I'll be able to fit in the description because you can only put like only 5 to 6,000 or whatever it is. I can't remember. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in and sticking it with us for this long. Holy shit, it's been almost 3-some hours, dude, and I'm really tired, dude. I might consider taking a nap after this, but if you guys want to or haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Roger Radio Show. Today, be sure to subscribe to the Interrobang group, and be sure to stay tuned because we got some big projects coming ahead and within the next month and a half, and I hope you all stick around for that. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, I got nothing.
Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. If y'all excuse me, I gotta go masturbate and then take a nap. And as always, until next time, ta-ta for now!
Peace.